You're just moments away from a brand new episode of WTF Nations Radio's Pop Culture Warrior, hosted by the dynamic duo CQ and Radar. Pop Culture Warrior is your number one source for all things entertainment. If it's happening in TV, movies, video games, or comedy, they're all over it. And don't forget to say hi in the comments below. And while you're at it, let the boys know what you think and what you'd like to hear them talk about. Now strap in and get comfortable, because you're in for one hell of a ride. This is Pop Culture Warrior. Shots.
Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Welcome, one and all. Jesus Christ, it's doing that echo thing again. Hang on. Oh man, can you hear the echo? And now I can't hear me. What is going on, guys? This is funny. All right, let's.
Oh, it's a Tuesday, man.
It's a Tuesday.
It's
a Tuesday. Hang on a second. What about now? Can you hear that, Radar? Is that take care of the echo?
It sounds better to me, buddy.
All right, can we get a thumbs up, audience? Somebody, echo gone. That was weird. So weird when it does that. Whatever. Oh well. So let me take two. Welcome, one and all. Today is September 28th, 2021. This is episode 74 of Pop Culture Warrior, the show where I stay up to date on what's all the ins and outs of what's happening in pop culture so you don't have to. I am CQ. I am the Pop Culture Warrior. And with me, as always, is my very own stunt double, the man in the bubble, the voice of the unpop culture. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Radar.
What's up, man?
Oh, man. It's Tuesday.
It is Tuesday. And
Going back to our roots, baby.
and you can tell that because she's all fucked up.
We're going back to our roots, man. For those of you been here since episode 1, you know, like the first 12 episodes, constant problems, drops and echoes and something was wrong every episode.
We were so amateurs. Amateurs is the word I would use.
We were amateurs. It was so bad. You know, oh my God, I got an idea. What if, I don't know, sometime in the future, man, maybe a night where there's not too much going on, we should go back and watch with the audience our first episode and like react to our first episode.
Like Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Kind of, yeah. It'd be like, we put it up on the main screen, then our current, me and you would be current bubbles, and we just rip ourselves to shreds about how terrible it was.
Oh, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't, because here's the deal. If it was so that bad, there wouldn't have been episode 2. You know what I mean?
I mean, I don't know.
Just say it.
We'll figure. If the audience wants to do that, if you guys would like to go back, rewind the tape 73 episodes or some odd.
Dude, I can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah, I know, right? A long time. Quick shout out to everybody that's on. Steven. The other Steven with a PHE and Steven with a V. Jim, what's going on, buddy? Love to see that you're always around. Sin? SCYN? That's gotta be Sin, right? Sin? Nice to see you. Corey, Adam, Jim again, Ashley, Kenneth, all y'all guys. Welcome.
Ashley is he again.
Oh.
When are you gonna get? He's in Facebook jail still.
I don't read. I'm just reading the name. I'm not reading the comment that's under it. I'm just shooting off names. Hey Heath, thanks for coming out as always, bud. We really appreciate you, man. You guys are the best.
Get out of Facebook jail.
Yes, get out of Facebook jail. Yeah, Kenneth. Two Ken. We got two Kenneths. Kenneth Libel.
Oh,
Libel?
We have
Kenneth Shores. What's up?
Doblos.
What's up? Doubles. We got double the Kenneth.
Yeah.
We got another Kenneth sneaking around.
Every Kenneth I've ever met has been fun.
Yeah.
Seriously, everyone I've ever met named Kenneth is
I've never met a bad Kenneth. Never met a bad Kenneth.
Cool.
Well, thanks for checking us out, guys. We appreciate you coming out. Couple quick housekeeping items.
Housekeeping.
Richard, hey man, what's up, man? What's up? What's up with you? So yeah, a couple quick housekeeping items. This week, after months of waiting and speculation and I don't know, other fancy words, we find out if we won the podcast award this week.
Oh
yeah, Thursday night. It's scary, a little concerned. No, I'm not concerned. I'm anxious, nervous, excited. But you made it possible. Thank you.
I did. Oh, thank you.
Not you.
Oh, well, you're pointing at my
this
bubble.
guy. No, this guy right there. You know who you are. You know who you are.
Yeah.
You guys made it happen, and we really appreciate it. And you know, the fun point is that even if we don't win the award, we got nominated, man.
Yeah.
We're one of 10 out of hundreds, if not thousands, of entrants into the entertainment category of podcasts. And so if we win, huge celebration. I mean, I'm going to do something off the wall crazy for the next episode. I don't know what it is.
Oh.
I don't know what it is, but I got a week to think about it. So if we win, tune in, strap in, because next week's going to be crazy. And if we don't, it was awesome. We got nominated. We'd be the 2-time nominated Best in Entertainment Podcast Award nominee.
You know what we should do?
Yeah.
We should start our own, like, podcast awards.
And just win it every year.
Yeah. But, I mean, we could have, like, other people, too, in other categories, and we could become, we're the military, man. We're fucking war heroes. Yeah, we'll call it the War Hero Awards or some shit, right? And we'll fucking,
I like
we'll
it.
work something out with ICE, WTF, Moments Podcast Awards. We'll figure it out. We'll get with the main page. We could do some stuff. Ooh, triple up on some Kenneths.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can handle that.
Curtis, I don't know if we could have 2 Kenneths. We're pushing the line at 2 Kenneths.
Yeah, we get 3 up in here.
One more, we might implode. Man.
Mm-hmm.
Also, speaking of things happening this week, Venom is out in theaters this Thursday night.
Yes, I will not be seeing that.
So, you won't be seeing it, you said?
No, I won't be seeing that.
I like you said, I won't be seeing that.
I won't be seeing it.
I've already bought my tickets. I'll be seeing it Friday. And so
I love how we're both so very cemented in our response to that.
We know our roles. We know our roles.
It's not that I don't want to, it's that my theater is so close.
Yeah.
And I'm not driving like an hour there to sit in the movie and drive an hour home. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not. So
yeah.
Sorry about
I feel you. You know, it's not Kenny, please. Nobody likes Kenny. Not Kenny. Kenneth Shores, Tom Hardy made Venom. No one else could have done it. I mean, listen. Kenneth, if I can speak to you for a second. I love Tom Hardy. I love his work. He's an incredible actor. He made choices for Eddie Brock in Venom. I'm not entirely a fan of those choices. Knowing the source material and knowing how Eddie Brock was a bully. Eddie Brock was this meathead. He was this big persona who, blamed all his problems on everybody else, and that's why the symbiote amped all that up. And in this version of the movie, of the story, in the movie version, it's very much he's like Eddie's this very like, oh no, like he's just this really like, oh god, I'm going over my head, and like he's just this weird character that I don't. And then Venom's the brute, and Venom's the whatever, and it wasn't intended to be that. The symbiote amps up everything that's there. That's why like when it attached to Spider-Man, it was just Spider-Man at a 15. You know what I mean? Like dialed way up, but he was still Spider-Man. Whereas it really does feel like this is 2 different personas, in that Eddie Brock is like, oh, we gotta stop eating people, and it's like, ugh. It just, Don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna go see it. The reviews are good. I'll tell you, this is the trajectory of Venom 2. I was happy with Venom 1, not like loved it, but it was better than average, so that was good. It was a good place. They announced Venom 2, and they go, okay, it's going to be about Carnage. We're bringing back Woody Harrelson. We got Andy Serkis directing all this, and I'm like, wow, excitement goes through the roof. And then they announce it's not going to be rated R. It's going to be PG-13. So my enthusiasm fell quite a bit. And then the first trailer came out, and if I'm being honest, it was like, and I kind of dipped down even lower, to the point where I considered, like, man, do I really need to see this one? I mean, take away the fact that I'm the pop culture warrior that needs to be up to date on all the ins and outs of pop culture, so you don't have to. But I was like, man, maybe I shouldn't watch this one. And then reviews came out, and I saw the second trailer and everything, and I went, oh, okay, all right, I kind of see what they're going with, and yeah, we'll see. I will tune in to the Pop Culture Warrior Facebook page and or other social medias, and I'll give a review. Man, I don't know. I'll do a TikTok or something. I don't know, man. I don't know how social media works. Yeah, I'll do something. I'll talk about it and tell you what I think. If you should go spend your hard-earned money, tune in Friday morning. I think I go see it at 11 a.m. Eastern, so probably tune in around 1 Eastern, and I'll let you know if you should see it.
When is Eternals coming out?
November 8th? November 9th?
Okay.
Very soon.
I go see that.
Yeah, very soon. I miss anything anybody's saying? I say this place should Vegas cheap flights. Right, Kenneth said, yeah, I'm a fan of Tom Hardy no matter what. He was good on Peaky Blinders too. Yeah. I agree with you guys. What? Why you?
Oh, I'm just they're going off about we're got this thing going on in the main page chat now.
Okay.
All the Kenneths need to meet up and fight. Winner is the real Kenneth. Second place is Ken. Third place is Kenny.
The one true Kenneth.
Yeah, exactly. And then Jim Handy said maybe something we can do. The first Ken to log into their MySpace wins.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
And then Jim Handy said, we're talking about our contest, right? The WTF Nation Radio contest, whatever. He said if you win, you get all you get in your contest is an AAM. I said no, you get an LOA and a coin. That's what you get.
Nice. Yeah.
You get an LOA and a coin and a handshake.
Dude, I still want to make a WTF Nation Radio coin. It's WTF Nation Radio on one side and then Pop Culture Warrior on the other side. Like, I still want to do that.
Well, okay. So, dude, 100 coins is $3 a coin.
That's $300.
Sell them on the website for $5. You made money.
I don't know. Would you guys buy challenge coins? $5. But then you got to count for shipping too. Who's paying for the shipping?
Oh, Jesus. Make them pay for shipping.
Way too much.
You have to do. Well, hold on. Here's the deal. You have to do 300 to get free mold fees. So 300 coins is $275 a piece.
Do you realize how long it would take us to give away 300 coins, let alone sell them?
Have you ever seen me drunk at a bar? I gave away all kinds of dumb shit. I gave away my belt buckle one time I was drunk.
Jesus Christ.
He was like, I like your belt buckle. I'm like, I do too. He's like, can I have it? I said, all right. And I walked around with my pants falling for the rest of the night.
You are too much, dude. You are too much. Let's see. I'm trying to open up the...
Oh, he got an AAM on Friday. It took him 9 years. It only took him 1 month to get his first Article 15. Nice.
Oh, man. Hey, Mike, I see you now. I keep feeling like I'm getting that echo again. That's weird. All right. Aside from Venom. Yeah, Mike asked about Why the Last Man. There's 5 episodes out. I haven't seen the most recent one. I was crazy busy yesterday and today. But I've seen the first 4 episodes. I 100% highly recommend Why the Last Man on Hulu. You guys, check it out. It's a really, really good series. It's really, really good. Highly recommend it. Go check it out. And you guys are up on the coins, huh?
Dude, I think they'd be sick. That's a fucking okay. If we did 300, that's like less than $1,000.
He said it's 3 coins or $3 per coin, and you have to get 300 of them.
No, it's $275 a coin if you get 300 of them.
$275.
No. $253 if you don't get any paint. If you just get.
Well, I want color. Yeah, but I want a little color.
Okay, well, if you get color on one side is $275, color on both sides is $3.
Well, because the WTF Nation Radio is just black and white, but that still counts as color, right? Because otherwise it's going to be coin color.
No, yeah, it's like enameled. The enamel
on
one side.
So I would want the black and white on one side, and then the Pop Culture Warrior, and this guy on the other side, or some version.
I would just do them like that black nickel or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do them like a cool color like that, or like copper. Something you don't see a lot of.
Something. All right. We'll.
They got like bottled, like beer openers. They got all kinds of shit.
Well, yeah, we'll have to circle back. Ice, get with us. We're gonna have a team station meeting. I wanna put that on the agenda.
God, if I wouldn't have got shit canned for my job, I'd probably buy one. I'd probably order them. God damn it.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah, Scott says for 50 cents more, you might as well get the color. I mean, it's 50 cents more per coin for 300 coins.
It's
not exactly a small amount.
Well, yeah, 50 cents per coin.
Okay, this is not math corner.
Dude,
we're not doing math.
We're fucking
we're not doing math. This show is not the last place you're gonna be doing math. Anyway,
hey, you guys just jump out of airplanes. You're probably good at math, right? No, if I was good at math, I would have went to college.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know what you want from me.
Yeah.
That's only like $60. Yeah, well, $60 is $60.
Yeah. What was the other saying? I'm not gay, but $60 is $60. Oh God, man. This has gone off the rails already, and we haven't even got into anything. So yeah, Why the Last Man is a great series. Please go check it out because I want a season 2. So go check it out. About 5 episodes. 5 episodes in now, and it's a great series. Great series. the other episode that came out this week that we love to talk about is What If? We got episode 7. What if Thor was an only child? Did you get to check it out?
I did. I watched it first thing Wednesday morning. I did.
And thoughts on what if Thor was an only child?
He still got a brother from another mother. That made my little radar heart happy.
His Radar's heart grew 3 times its size that day.
Yeah. 3 times 1 is still 1.
that is weird but true. Yep.
But I actually thought it was kind of funny. That was like the funny one to me. And it was like, Mom, my mom's coming. We got to clean up. Like, I think everyone who's kind of a degenerate and kind of a party kid can relate to that. If you've ever had a party at your house and your mom was coming home, you know that feeling. And so like it really got to me. It made me in the feels. Like I know what it's like to
get in trouble.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah. So spoiler alert warning, and we won't go too heavy into it.
It's been a week. If you give a shit about it, you've watched it. If you don't give a shit, you haven't watched it yet. So, okay.
By the way, Scott's calling out your math because you said 3 times 1 is 1.
Yeah. See? And you wanted me to do the math on the fucking challenge points.
I told you this isn't where we come for math.
No.
Wrong channel.
I just gotta count to 3. That's it. Bye. See ya.
Bye. See
anyway.
Ya. Sorry about it. Math is hard. Sorry about it. So yes.
Anyway, the ending. We're getting to the ending.
Yeah. So let's just jump right to the ending of the episode because this was
because I've got some questions, but I'll let you.
Yeah. This was meant to be a nice, like comedic. You know, a lot of the other stories are kind of dark and moody and, you know, apocalyptic in nature and brooding and evil. This was supposed to be like the fun, party, comical episode. Lots of comedy, lots of heart. And then right there, as the Watcher's trying to wrap it up, he's like, well, they lived happily ever after. We get a big old record scratch. And in comes the star of next week's episode, or I should say tonight's episode. And tonight's episode is leading into called What If... Well, Ultron won. And now this will be the 8th and final episode of season 1 of What If, because they are bringing back season 2, What If. We were originally supposed to get 9 episodes, but one of the episodes was delayed and is being pushed back to the 2nd season. I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, the idea here, the final episode, and I think I'm right. Go back, watch the tape. I think I'm right, because I said some event's going to happen. Some evil is going to cross over dimensions, and the Watcher's going to have to put together a team to stop it. And it looks like in that episode, Ultron won in the Age of Ultron movie. He was able to create his vision body, and somehow he got all of the Infinity Stones, and now is the ultimate threat to the multiverse. And the Watcher's going to have to put together a team that can stop him. So yeah, I it's too early to call it, but I think I was right.
Yes.
Thoughts?
Okay, one, where the fuck did he come from? He must have come from an alternate timeline.
Yeah.
Branch of the timeline.
Yep.
Okay, this is where my brain is not keeping up with the show. Okay. Remember in Loki where they had all the Infinity Stones, right?
Yes. Yep.
And they said those Infinity Stones only worked in their universe and their timeline, right?
Nah, you're misquoting. You're misquoting. Those stones had no effect at the Time Bureau, at the Variant Bureau. They had no effect there where they were currently, because the Time Variance Authority happens outside of the timeline. And the magic of the stones is within their timeline realities.
Okay.
So in theory, That's why when Doctor Strange uses the Time Stone to go back and forth in time, it still works because he's still flowing within the timeline. It's outside the timeline where those stones, they have no power.
Okay, so in this universe now, the multiverse, whatever, it's cyclical, right? There's a circle, right? So there is an infinite number of Infinity Stones, right? Essentially, there's an infinite number of Infinity Stones.
Each within their own timeline, sure.
Yeah, but all the timelines are right, circular. Now they're kind of branching off. They weren't before, right? But so in this world, okay, it all comes to an end point and then starts over again, right? And it's what happens. It just happens over and over and over again.
In the you're talking about the sacred timeline is a circle. Yeah.
Okay, so if every fucking every millisecond there's another timeline being created, right? That timeline being created, that Big Bang that creates that, is creating another set of Infinity Stones, right? So there is an infinite number of Infinity Stones out there, right?
Possibly.
5 per timeline, right? But an infinite number of them.
Right.
So they're really not that cool.
I mean,
they're powerful,
yeah.
But what I'm saying is, so it's not like Ultron's got the only 5, or when Thanos had his 5, he didn't have the only 5.
Correct.
Right? There is an infinite number of them, so all I have to do is go grab some more, and we can fix it. Bye, see ya.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's kind of what the Avengers did in Endgame.
Right.
They didn't exist anymore, and they went back and got them.
We're midway through my argument.
Okay.
All right. So, Watcher, pretty smart dude, pretty powerful dude, right? Right? He can see everything, essentially, right?
Sure.
Why does he just not go grab some stones and then throw them to fucking, I don't know, somebody in this little thing and be like, all right, here, take out Thanos.
Well, maybe.
Or take out fucking Ultron. Bye, see ya. Click, bye.
We've seen what happens when a normal person tries to wield an Infinity Stone.
Thor is get Bucky with the arm. I've said this before.
But just because his arm could handle it, the rest of his body couldn't. All that would be left is the arm.
Okay, well, there's like 3 Thanoses in this fucking thing, right?
Fair enough.
He did okay with it. Kind of fucked him up a little bit, right?
I have a fun theory. What if
there's the Hulk?
I mean, yeah. What if
there's Thor? He's a fucking god.
Yeah. I mean,
right?
We'll see. I mean, maybe that's explored.
Why doesn't the fucking Watcher just do it? Bye, see ya. Done.
I mean, we'll have to see. I'm sure they're gonna explain it all within the world.
It just sounds like there's extra steps they don't need.
Was it Rick Sanchez? It's like slavery with extra steps.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's like Infinity War with extra steps. Bye, see ya. Nice. Thanks, Ultron. Thanks for playing, and be done with it.
Okay, hear me out here. Long shot, but how cool would this be?
All
right. So he's gonna put together his little Universal Avengers. They're gonna fight. Let's say they're on the verge of losing or something. And he's just like, I don't know what to do. We saw zombie Thanos about to complete the gauntlet in that episode. What if he's like, screw it. To fight a big bad, bring in a big bad. And he pulls in like zombie Thanos to fight, like fully infinity up, gauntlet up Thanos to fight off Ultron, infinite Ultron. I think that'd be cool. I think that'd be cool to see 2.
It'd just be like a dance battle, them snapping back and forth. Yeah. I mean, what's up with that? And why's it gotta be a snap? That's like the gayest thing fucking ever. Why couldn't it be like a fucking, I don't know, like a Charleston or some shit?
2 snaps and a wiggle.
Yeah, it's fucking something less gay.
So anyway,
this show is gayer than AIDS. This particular show, or is it because I'm retarded? You can just say whatever you want.
It's one or the other. It's fine. But anyway, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they do with it. I think it's going to be interesting. It's the last episode of the season. Then we're going to get to move on to the Eternals is coming, and then the Hawkeye series, and then the Spider-Man movie, and then yada 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 yada. So it's exciting. It's exciting. And so speaking of which, actually, I can jump right into our these are some TV headlines. We don't talk about much TV headlines, so I'm gonna bring in some TV headlines. Hey, Radar, there you are.
Hi, there me is.
There me is. So speaking of that what if delayed episode, it was during an interview that the head writer, this guy named AC Bradley, discussed one of the episodes that got pulled from the current season and is being delayed to the second season. And I'm sorry, she revealed that the delayed episode is actually going to be very much like this Thor episode that passed, a pure comedy episode. Like, it's just meant to just have fun and crack you up. Which makes sense why like it wasn't pivotal to the plot and the storyline that was kind of overarching in this season. So yeah, that's all good. They said that there were COVID production issues, and it was an episode that didn't necessarily need to be brought into this one, so they're pushing it to the second season. Which again, good news. We're getting a second season. That's gonna be awesome. More of these stories, more off the wall stories is always a good thing. So there is that. Another one I'm very excited about is we've talked about this quite a bit. The Last of Us is coming to HBO Max as a series based off the super uber popular hit PlayStation game, The Last of Us. They are bringing it to live action on HBO Max. We have our first image of the live action. Very excited for this. Let's bring it in. Boop. For those of you looking, this is not some PS5 graphics of the next game. This is the live action. We don't obviously get to see their faces, but it I mean, it looks good. I mean, as far as the characters from behind, I mean, obviously the accurate to the clothing. This game will take place the majority of the first game. Now, they said there will be quite large deviations from the source material because guess what? This is a TV series and that was a video game. So there will be large variations, but you're going to get the same kind of world. You're going to get the same, characters. You're going to get a lot of the same stuff. Neil Druckmann, who was the director of the series, shared this image on Twitter, and he said, "When I first saw them on set in full costume, I was like, holy shit, it's Joel and Ellie." So yeah, they are full steam ahead. There's going to be more coming out soon. Obviously, this image was shared. There's a downed airplane. I mean, it is the apocalypse, right? Everything's going to be all messed up.
Fucking Scott is on point.
What's up?
He said graphics are getting good because I really thought that was graphics.
Right? I thought that when I first saw the image, I was like, wow. And then it was like, oh, this is the live action. Like, yeah. I mean, 5-6 more years, this might be what graphics look like. I mean, honestly. Let's see. The Last of Us writer, producer Craig Mazin also confirmed that the first season will consist of 10 episodes. And these episodes, let me tell you, are not cheap. It is reported that each episode of The Last of Us will cost more than $10 million to produce. $10 million an episode. And at 10 episodes, I know we're not doing the math right, but that's like a bajillion dollars, right? That's $100 million for the first season of the series, and it probably won't get cheaper moving forward. So let's hope that it is a massive, massive success because, yeah, it's yeah. Kenneth says that's Gerard Butler's head and the girl from Juno. Unfortunately, no, that is Pedro Pascal, the guy who's been playing the Mandalorian. Is going to be playing Joel on this series, and that is Bella Ramsey, who's playing Ellie. So, yeah, you're thinking the chick from Juno is, God, I'm drawing a blank. Is it in the X-Men? Paige?
Maybe.
I want to say Paige. I don't know. Something. Anyway. drawing a blank now. So yeah, so that's very exciting. I think this is gonna be a good series based on the amount of time and effort and money they're putting into this. It damn well better be a phenomenal series. They're gonna need this to be an out of the park smash hit for them to really recoup any of the cost of this, because $10 million an episode for a brand new show is, I mean, yeah, Scott, it's about 350.
About 350.
About 350. There we go. About 350. Yeah, so that's that one. What else we got? We got lots for you. We're gonna burn through these. Ooh. So it was recently announced that Netflix is gonna be bringing an anime version of Tomb Raider. It's a series from Powerhouse Animation, picks up after the events of the video game reboot trilogy. So if you played the most recent video game Tomb Raiders, like Tomb Raider, what was the other one? Shadow of the Tomb Raider and something like that. So this anime will pick up after that trilogy, and they just announced who's going to be voicing it. I've got it right here. That's Haley Atwell, or most people know her as Peggy Carter. Peggy Carter, nice. from you know, from the Marvel thing, you know.
Yeah, that one. Well,
the one Marvel thing. The big thing that Captain America's always obsessed about, you know.
Yeah.
Bucky. Ha!
Yeah.
Burn. So stupid.
Yeah. You know what? Fuck him, honestly. Because here's the deal. Okay, he goes back in time, right?
Yeah.
To fucking be with Captain Carter or Peggy Carter or whatever. Bucky was the one who really needed him.
Yeah.
And he knew what happened. He didn't go save Bucky. He just went to go get his dick wet.
Yeah.
I mean,
the dude was like a 40-something-year-old virgin, I think, at that point. I mean,
still, dude. Okay, I'm sorry, man. My best bud in the whole wide world is getting tortured.
Oh my God.
Literally tortured. And he's like, nah, man, sorry about it. I'm gonna go marry this chick.
I just had a vision of the 40-year-old version poster, but it's like Captain America sitting there instead of Steve Carell. Oh man, I got somebody make that. Somebody go make that. That'd be funny.
But you see what I'm saying though? Fucking Bucky needed him and he just let him go.
Saying. Bucky's a big boy. He can handle it.
Well, yeah, he went and got a metal arm, I guess.
Yeah. Kenneth says the video I shared is cool, short little film. If you've never seen it, we'll hit you in the feels. Hey man, can you send that over?
He shared it in the.
It's in the chats. Okay. Yeah, grab
grab
that
and
grab it and send it to me because I wanna check it out. Scott says hose before bros. That's what Captain always said.
With a cap, sir, on your left.
I want one of those. Remember the Spider-Man vignettes where it was like Captain America, like, so you got detention. Like I want one. So you time traveled and left your buddy behind to get your dick wet.
That's what he did.
Oh man, Jim, you're too much, man. You're too much. Anyway, so back to what I was saying.
He just fucking blasted on him. I'll see ya. Have fun getting tortured by fucking shield and shit. Bye.
So yes,
Clarence Carter.
Yes. Peggy Carter as Lara Croft, latest greatest adventure. The update comes from Netflix itself, as the site confirmed the British actress will be voicing Lara Croft. Nothing else has been said about the series yet.
I'm going to stop you on this because you seem really excited about this.
I'm excited about a lot of things.
I know this isn't the same, but every single Tomb Raider movie fucking sucked, dude.
I mean,
come on, be honest.
I can't agree with that. They sucked. They weren't great.
They weren't great. They weren't good at all. So now you're like, well, Peggy Carter's part of it, so it's probably come on.
No. Okay, first of all, I had a lot of respect for what Angelina did with the role. It obviously veered very heavily from the source material again, but
oh yeah,
I gave her credit for what she did for the role. They did that reboot one, which I didn't think was that bad. I remember the chick's name that did the reboot one. It's not that bad. Worth a watch, honestly. They were even talking about doing a sequel. I don't know whatever happened with the sequel, but
They realized how bad the first one was, and they decided not to do it again.
It wasn't that bad, actually.
It was not good.
It was not bad. It was not bad. And so the fact that, and again, the if anything, you could say the video game. All right, here we go.
When people ask me how my vasectomy went, I tell them not bad. It wasn't bad. Would I do it again? I mean, probably not. I don't need to, thankfully. But you see what I'm saying when you say it's not bad? That's
5 out of 10. Don't recommend.
I mean, it's whatever. It's something you got to do sometimes, but it's whatever. It's over.
It is what it is.
That's the exact same way you're describing the movie. Like,
it
there's
is
high
what it
points.
Is.
There's high points. Child support sucks, but there's also, getting your nuts lopped off.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of.
Yeah.
So that's where the sequel went. So yeah, so now they're like, well, let's make an adaptation where we put it into animated form and make it a series.
Yeah.
And you're just like, fuck yeah, let's do this.
Okay, but this is where I temper my expectation. This is where, because it's not them going off and doing their own thing. This is a continuation of the video game story, which was good. People enjoyed it. They sold a bajillion copies. So this isn't like we're gonna retell the story again in a new direct. Like, this is just it's a anime cartoon series picking up where the video game left off. So I think it'll be worth at least a watch. Watch an episode. I think it'll be worth it. I'll
give you that. I'll give you that. But it's not. You're just very excited about it. I'm just trying to get you. I'm not trying to burn your sails or some shit. I'm just trying to get you to tap the brakes a little bit.
Okay.
Just tap.
That's why we keep you around, man. I see. I head in the clouds. You keep me grounded, bro.
But I mean, like, but I'm just saying, dude. Like, remember my mantra: make it good.
Make it good. I agree. I want it to be good. I want it to be good. Let's see what else we have. Moving on from that. Oh, another series. Funny enough, based on a video game. This is done. Now we're going 3 in a row, right? Because we did Last of Us. We did. You seeing a theme here? We did Tomb Raider, Lara Croft.
Yep, we did.
Another PlayStation classic, Twisted Metal. Who remembers Twisted Metal? Twisted Metal's coming. We know the live action adaptation is coming. And guess who's just signed on to star in Twisted Metal? Any guesses? Any guesses?
Peggy Carter.
Another Marvel alumni, Anthony Mackie. The Falcon himself has signed on to play the amnesiac John Doe. Yes. Jason Statham. That would have been a good guess. That would have been a good guess, Ken. I mean, I could have definitely went with that. As reported by Deadline, Mackie will lead in the latest video game adaptation from PlayStation Productions. With a lead star on board, it is now planning to shop the series to potential buyers. Twisted Metal TV series is being described as a high-octane action comedy written by the Deadpool writers. Deadline reports the series will follow a motor-mouth outsider who could earn a better life for himself, but only after delivering a mysterious package through a post-apocalyptic wasteland. So in the video game, John Doe is an amnesiac who can't remember anything about himself, but is covered in tattoos that may hold the clue to his past. I mean, what do you think? Right?
Make it good. It sounds good.
I mean,
and it has potential.
I mean, if Anthony Mackie signed on, either they backed up the money bank truck to him.
He's not hurting for cash.
He's not hurting. He's going to be in the next Captain America. He is the next
Captain America.
I meant like Captain America 4. He's Captain. Like,
yeah.
He's not hurting for cash.
He's got that Marvel money, son.
He's got that Marvel money.
Although, in all fairness, I saw him at the bank trying to get a loan to fix that boat up, and they didn't want to give it to him. So.
Oh God! God bless you, Radar. God bless you.
No, I mean, I with that kind of clout.
Yeah.
It can't suck. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. And we talked about this a couple weeks ago when they first announced it, and like they were teasing like, look, this isn't some crummy thing. Like we're putting money into this. We're gonna get big names. Now, not to say that I mean, you could have the biggest stinking pile of crap in Hollywood ever and put big names on it. Looking at you, Catwoman and Halle Berry, you know.
Hey, you know what? I'll even go back to Lara Croft and Tomb Raider.
Oh God, come on.
No. But hold out on this, because there was some stars in that cast.
I mean, yeah, they had names. I mean,
they had names.
Angelina Jolie wasn't at the height of her success yet.
No,
she was
definitely. Well, she was definitely an A-list actress.
Yeah. Hey, right? Dave, I see you, buddy.
And they put some money into that. They had that for the time. That was, they put a lot of money into CGI and things, and you can throw a lot of money at a show and not make it. And it might be not bad.
I mean, I fingers crossed.
I'm more excited for this.
Yeah,
I am.
Scott, you're absolutely right. Money and talent doesn't always equal good. Like it, we've gotten to talk to so many actors, so many producers, so many directors, so many writers on this show, and I think we've talked about this before. Like, especially you go to the director, and it's like, well, I can only direct with the talent I have, and they can only act with the script they have. And then there's so much, especially something as big budget, then that means there's a lot of studio involvement, right? Because they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars. They want what they want. It's like all these pieces have to come together for it to be good. And then God bless, CGI has to be, because CGI has to be on point. Especially if you're gonna do something like this, CGI is gonna have to be on point.
Right. But it's kind of, I mean, not to sound like a dick though, too. Like all the big studios are getting CGI pretty locked down.
Yeah, they're doing. Yeah,
I think Marvel kind of cheaped out on Black Widow. Like when they did the sparkly dust shit, that was just the worst fucking CGI. I expected better than that.
I think it was your TV, man. I think it was your TV. Your TV isn't good. I saw it in theaters. It wasn't that bad.
You saw it in theaters.
Yeah,
it was pretty. It was, dude, watch it.
It was, at 47 feet across, it wasn't. It looked all right. It looked all right.
Okay, well, anyway, I thought it looked like garbage. I'm just saying, for as long as we waited for that fucking movie, they could have fixed it.
Yeah, fair enough. Maybe they over tinkered. You ever done that? Like you set up like a fantasy roster, and then like you're ready to go. Last minute, you start tinkering with it, and then like you completely blow it.
No, you know why? Last time we had a fantasy football league at the station, I won it. So
I don't recall that at all.
I do. I 100% recall.
I don't recall that at all. That doesn't sound right at all. That doesn't sound right at all. We're just gonna move right past that because that doesn't sound. Yes, Heath. Yes, it sounds like all the Fast and Furious movies. I agree with you.
Yep.
Talk about chemistry. I'm like reading all the comments now. Directors of Saw need to make Twisted Metal. That's not a bad idea. Like the director of Saw needs to make Twisted Metal. Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, you're not wrong, Josh.
I mean, Joshua, I wouldn't say they're all the same, but there's a reason they call it the Marvel formula. Like there's a consistency. Like when Marvel hit its stride, they were like, "Oh, this worked. Let's do it again. This worked. Let's do it again." And they really kind of perfected the Marvel formula as far as how to make a movie.
Now, what I will say with that, though, like they have kind of, especially with the last 3 shows, right? They've kind of blurred the lines on that a little bit, and I hope they do that kind of with the films moving on. That's why I'm kind of excited because from the Eternals is kind of supposed to be along those lines where you kind of blur the line of good versus bad. It's not like, oh, we have our heroes, now the villain shows up, now the heroes defeat the villain, game over. Yeah. Like it looks like they're kind of, blurring those lines a little bit, which sounds like it might be really good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like I think that's why Marvel Studios doing all these Disney Plus shows is so good for them, because it gives them a chance to tell story. Like they're not going to gamble on the Marvel formula in theaters. They're just not going to. They're going to stick to what works and it makes money. But the Disney Plus platform really allows them to kind of, okay, let's do kind of a mystery show. Let's do kind of, the buddy cop show. Let's do, the sci-fi twisted time travel-y kind of show. Like they get to do all that. The what if, right? You couldn't do that. You couldn't do that in theaters.
Couldn't do that in theaters. No.
So yeah, like I get it. I get where you're coming from. I totally get it. last one I want to talk about before we jump, because this I'm excited for our guest. I'm actually super excited for our guest tonight. But before we go, one last one. So we talked about this a while back. We know the Batman is coming, right? The Robert Pattinson led Batman movie, and honestly, it's actually looking good. I was the biggest poo pooer of the movie when it was announced, and I was like, you got to be kidding me! This is gonna be so dumb. But the more I'm seeing of it, the more I'm like, holy shit, they might actually pull it off. They might actually do a good one. So that's good. Then they announced that for HBO Max, they're going to do a series of Gotham PD, where it's going to technically take place, the series will take place before the events of the Batman movie. Same universe, same timeline, whatever you want to call it, but it's going to be like before Batman really steps in to fight crime. Like, it's how Gotham PD is just getting overwhelmed and slowly losing the city, and that will lead into the Batman movie. Well, it was just announced that there might possibly be another spin-off series coming out of this movie. So, I mean, this movie must be good that they're willing to be like, wow, we could do a series on this and we could do a series on that. Like, it must be good. Somebody up top is seeing something that they like. Because now they're saying that Colin Farrell, who's tapped to play Oswald Cobblepot / the Penguin, and actually I have a picture for reference. This is what he's going to look like in the movie. Practically unrecognizable Colin Farrell. They're saying that his portrayal is so incredible, they're considering doing a Penguin spin-off series for HBO Max. He's reportedly in talks to reprise his role for the spin-off. Deal not currently in place, but the series would follow Penguin's rise to power in Gotham's criminal underworld. Kenneth says, no, we want Danny DeVito. Get your heads out the past. This is the future. You might see him in the Flash movie that they're doing, because they're crossing timelines with the '89 series Batman, so that could happen. But if this series comes to fruition, it would mark the second time that the Penguin's story was explored in a live-action television, because obviously Robin Lord Taylor did it on Fox's Gotham series to so results. I think there was parts of it that were really good and parts of it that were not so great. The whole gay storyline between him and Riddler was really awkward. But yeah, so it should be good. It should be good. Even it's funny because Jeffrey Wright, who's playing Commissioner Gordon or Lieutenant Gordon or whichever position he is at the time, was talking about how he didn't recognize Colin Farrell in the Penguin's makeup. They were like, oh yeah, you're gonna be acting with Colin today, and he said like he had walked past him 2 or 3 times and not realized that was Colin Farrell, because the makeup is so convincing that he's like, oh crap, I didn't realize that was you. So I don't know. I'm psyched for the Batman movie. I don't know how I feel about the TV spinoffs. Thoughts, Mr. Radar?
I don't know. Do you think they just have something they think is a cash cow and they're just going to keep milking it?
I mean,
that's
that could
kind
be
of
part
what
of it.
it seems like to me. And like when that happens, sometimes it turns out to be shit.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
It's
like not
possible.
trying to be a dick about it, but it's sure kind of what it. I mean,
sorry about it.
Sorry about it. This could be garbage, and I don't know, dude. I'm so on the fence with a lot of these DC properties right now, and I don't know like how I want to feel about them, because it kind of seems to me like they're kind of, I don't know, dude. I know you're a lot bigger into it than I am, and it just kind of seems like, it just seems like it could be garbage, and they might be just doubling and tripling down on some fucking bullshit that they think they have a home run, and it's really just like a ground rule double, and then they're just gonna keep throwing money at it.
Yeah, if it doesn't work, throw money at it, right? That's the DC mantra.
It's kind of honestly, that's kind of what they've been doing. So
to answer Kenneth and Scott both mentioning Batfleck, obviously Ben Affleck's Batman character. no, the Snyderverse is kind of done, but with the upcoming Flash, they did say that Ben Affleck will be reprising his role as Bruce Wayne in Batman, and that storyline will basically have the Flash messing with the timeline because that's one of his favorite things to do, and then somehow will cross over into the old like 89 Batman universe. So that's why Michael Keaton is coming back on to reprise Batman and Bruce Wayne, his version of it anyway. So we will kind of get Batfleck a little bit, and then kind of get Michael Keaton's Batman. I don't know. Details are few and far between on that movie, but we'll see. We'll see how that's gonna shape up. So, yeah, I don't know. The Snyderverse, there were things about it I liked, and there were things about it I wasn't a big fan of. So we know Aquaman 2's coming. Sorry,
this is what I mean. Like, it just seems like it's very fucking diluted and all over the map.
Yeah, a bit. I mean, look, we know Aquaman 2 is filming.
Yes.
We know The Flash is filming. There's been no word on Wonder Woman. There's been no word on Cyborg with that whole thing that went down. Superman, there's been no word on Superman. So once those two movies come out, I don't know what happens to the Snyderverse. Yeah, I don't. There's nobody. Oh, the other one is technically in the Snyderverse is Shazam. They're doing Shazam 2, Fury from the Gods, and the Black Adam movie with The Rock. So technically, those exist within the Snyderverse movie, although they never really. You could easily pretend that they don't. I mean, you know what I mean? Right. Like, yeah, you could easily pretend that they don't. So.
See, okay, and this is my retort. It almost seems like you're not even like that excited about him right now. I mean, not to be a dick, like just kind of sound like there's kind of meh.
We'll see.
You know, like I hope it's good.
I want it to be good. I want it to be good. I do too. I don't wish bad on the DC universe. I don't either, and I wish it was better.
I do too. I really do, and I just don't see it happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like not at this moment. Like they just kind of seem to be spinning their wheels, which is sad because they do have some good content.
Oh yes.
They do have potential. And then they're like, oh well, we'll just throw this random bullshit in there. Like we'll probably see Aquaman too because, well, let's be honest, he gives my wife a lady boner, so we'll probably go watch that.
Sure.
But I mean,
fair enough. All right, guys. With that, we've reached the end of the first hour of Pop Culture Warrior. We're going to toss to a short commercial break. And while I go bring on our guest for the evening. And guys, you're going to want to stick around and check this out. It is super cool. This chick is a bona fide badass. Yes. And we're going to talk all about it. You guys got to see it. On the break. Check out, look up Michelle C. Smith, whatever, on TikTok, Insta, YouTube, wherever you want to look for her. Look her up. Check out some of the videos because they are awesome. And get ready to bring your questions live to the chats. And we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have some fun with this one. So, all right, guys, we'll be back after a short break. Say goodbye, Radar.
Goodbye, Radar. I'll see you.
All right, guys. We'll see you in a bit.
You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio.
I stood there in that middle of church with a bottle of gin in my hand. I'm looking up at the rooftop like I'm trying to find my long-lost friend. My days turn to nights, my nights turn to weeks when you're living life on the road. I'm halfway back to New Orleans with a few more drinks to go. I said, tip 'em on back. Well, let's tip 'em on back. I finally made it back to Bourbon Street, picking some of them old night bars, hoping I could find myself playing music on my guitar. For the kid around, they all shouted out as the drinks began to flow. I pulled out that old guitar, then I showed them how to do-si-do. I said, tip 'em on back.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Pop Culture Warrior. I am so excited for tonight's guest. My guest tonight is an actress, stunt woman, and professional badass. Her work is seen in some of the biggest pop culture properties, and it cannot be understated. She's worked on things like Smallville, Fringe, Supernatural, Arrow, iZombie, Charmed, Titans, The Magician, Supergirl, Percy Jackson, Deadpool, and so much more. On set, she's been a stunt performer, a weapons trainer, a stunt double, most recently a stunt and fight coordinator. With nearly 2 million followers spread across Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, it goes without saying that, you know, if you're not already following her, like, you're definitely missing out. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm Pop Culture Warrior welcome to my guest this evening, Miss Michelle C. Smith. Yay!
Oh, hey!
Welcome to the show.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh man, this is like, I've been excited since I reached out to you. And let me say first, let me just say real quick that very rarely is it where I'm like, oh, this would be a fun person to talk to, and I reach out and like 20 minutes later get it like, yes. I would love to do this. This sounds so much fun. Like, you know, usually there's a process, there's a back and forth, there's some time. You and your team were like jumped at the chance, which made me so excited and so happy for this conversation. I mean, I think we turned this around in like a week. I want to say something.
Yeah.
So
it happened like that. And you know, I'm always just happy to talk and share with people. I really enjoy these types of interviews, and it's just a new way to connect with people, and I think that's fabulous.
Oh my God, you're perfect. You're perfect for the show. You're perfect with you. Don't change a thing at all, guys. If you know, obviously we're gonna be talking with Michelle here. If you guys have questions, please put them in the chats. I promise I will get to them. We'll capture them and make sure that we ask them in due time. But first, my questions, as always. Yeah. So right out of the gate, you know, we always say this is a kind of military-themed, veteran-centric kind of audience. So, Michelle, what is your connection to the military?
Well, my grandfather on my mother's side, he was in the Canadian Army. He fought in the Korean War. And my Oma, my mom's mom, was a nurse in Germany around that time, and they met when he was overseas, and then she moved to Canada, and that's how I came to be. And one of my elementary school friends is actually an active member of the Canadian military. So that is my connection.
Outstanding. And nobody's going to give any hate on Michelle for being Canadian, all right?
I wasn't my choice.
she has nothing to do with it, all right? She's not her. She didn't leave and go there. Yeah, no, I've had the fortune to serve with some Canadian members in Iraq and Afghanistan. Great guys. Loved all of them. They're lots of fun. Yeah. Canadians are fun people.
Well, we're neighbors. Like, we have to get along.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm known for digging into my guest a little bit. Now I got to admit, it was a little hard with you. It was a little bit harder because you know, as someone who when you're an actor, like, you know, all your stuff's kind of out there. You know, if you're a writer but as somebody who's predominantly a stunt performer, stunt worker, you're not in the limelight so much, right? You're kind of behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I think you've been very successful at, while having a very large social media presence, keeping a lot of your personal stuff in check. But let me see if I got this. Okay.
Yes.
You started out 5 years old doing baton twirling, and that's kind of where all this came about. By 9 years old, you're competing at nationals. 11 years old, you're at your first world championship in Italy.
That's correct.
You competed at Worlds 8 consecutive years from 1996 to 2003, in the process winning bronze, 3 silvers and a gold medal. Amazing.
You nailed it.
Amazing. And that baton twirling, by your own words, was such a huge part of your life that there was no time, there was nothing for anything else. There were no extracurriculars. You didn't go to the dances. You didn't even go to your own high school graduation because that was the entirety of your life at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So far, I'm on track.
That is
okay.
accurate. Yeah.
So I want to stop there because I want to first understand why baton twirling. Why at 5 years old? Why was that the thing you got into?
You know, I've asked my mom, because I was 5, like, I don't know. But I asked my mom, like, why did you put me in baton? And she sort of doesn't really remember, but the clearest answer she's given me is that you saw some baton twirlers performing somewhere when you were very young and seemed interested in it. And I was always interested in dance. I really liked the idea of moving to music, and dance was a huge part of my training because in baton you have to be able to do gymnastics and dance and twirl a baton. So it's very complex practice. But I think that I saw some people doing some cool stuff with some batons and was like, I want to do that. And somehow at 5 years old, I found myself in a baton class. Like, I literally remember the first day of walking into the gym and somebody giving me a loaner baton and being like, here you go, and be like, what is this? and for the first 2 or 3 years that I twirled, I was not very good at it. I think it was because I was left-handed. We were doing everything right.
You're 5.
Yeah.
Who's that good at anything?
Yeah, but then it's somewhere around 8.5. It like clicked, and then it just skyrocketed from there and never looked back. And I was also a very determined kid. So once I started seeing that I was having some success in it, it became this inner drive for me. Like, I did have pressure from outside sources, but a lot of my drive to be good at it and be one of the best at it came from me. And that started when I was a very young child, like being like, oh, I'm not as good as kids in this class. Watch me. I'm just going to practice until I get it. And that has obviously served me well into however old I am now.
Good,
but,
nice, good catch. And so at 9 years old, you're competing at nationals. For you, was it just a seamless thing of like, okay, I've gotten to this peak, so now the logical next step is to compete at a national level? Or was it something that you just kind of stumbled into?
I don't think I was expecting to get that initial like chunk of getting to nationals. You see, I was always fascinated with the older kids of like, oh, that's what the big kids are doing. I want to do that. And they had nice costumes and cool music. And I was just like, oh, I want to compete like they're competing. I want to be able to do those tricks. I didn't really have any sense of where that would take me. And then it was probably around 9 when I was competing at nationals for the first time that I sort of realized the scope of it. And like at 9, I was not that high on the national roster, but by 10, I was. By 10, I was getting 7th place, whereas the year before, I was just sort of in the mix with everyone. And then by 11, I was getting 3rd place, and that's what qualified me to Worlds. But I wasn't really aware that being at the top of a national level or being at the top of a world level was even in my periphery until I was there doing it in that position. And I'm like, oh. Find
yourself there. You're like, oh, wow,
yeah,
I could be one of the best.
Yeah, because I just had my head down practicing for so long. And up until that point, it had been sort of recreational. And I think it was fun. I mean, I wouldn't keep doing it if it wasn't fun. But I was enjoying learning new things. I was enjoying catching new tricks. There's a lot of elation in like, whoa, I caught this big trick for the first time. Now I'm going to try and put it in a routine. Did you see that? Like, that was the exciting part. And then later on, it became about scores and medals and can I win this event at this competition? And when we go to Worlds, we're going to place it in this position. And Yeah, I think that the first little bit, I was a child. What the hell did I know? I was just being driven to the gym and doing what I was told,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, and then at 11, you find yourself at your first world championship. You're in Italy,
Yeah.
which part of Italy though? I'm curious.
We were competing in Genoa.
Genoa. Okay, is that northern or southern? I don't even know.
I think it's near the north,
North.
the
Okay.
northern part of the boot.
I was stationed in Vicenza for a couple of years. That's
Okay.
near Venice. It's a nice place. Nice place.
Yeah.
Love Italy. Love Italy. So okay, so I'm fascinated by this because I think the first time I left my hometown, I was like 13, let alone like flying to faraway countries and completely outside of my own element. So I mean, at 11 years old, and you're finding yourself in this world championship, I like, what's going through your head at that point? I'm so curious about this.
The first time I left for a baton competition, I went to New York when I was 9 to do like a workshop. My mom didn't come with me on that adventure. We just had chaperones. Loved that. When I went to Italy, my mom also didn't come along because it's expensive, and I didn't know at the time, but knowing now, like, it was a lot for my parents to be able to send me there. So it was a very privileged position to be able to actually go and compete in Italy. I was really excited for the competition. I was excited to meet some of these like superstar athletes that I had only heard of in myth and story. And they were going to be there. So I was super excited about that. But I was also really excited to go to Europe. I've always had, since I was very young, I had a huge fascination with history in Europe and castles and all of the things that make a European adventure a really interesting and fun story. So I was just like, what is it going to be like? And it was wonderful and fabulous. I didn't place or perform as well as I wanted to at that competition. Like, it was my first Worlds. I didn't really know what to expect, but I really had a wonderful time learning a new culture, trying new foods, hearing people speak a different language. And when we got back from that competition, because we used to do media after we'd get back, and like our local radio or news station would interview us, and they're like, Michelle, I was 11. what was Italy like? And I was like, it was kind of dirty, and they didn't speak English. I can just see my mom on the other side of the glass, and like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I've been there. Kind of dirty.
It was lovely. I don't mean to offend any Italians out there, but I was. That was the first time I'd ever gone somewhere that was so different. It was just an adventure. It felt like I was in a fairy tale.
Right.
And I was 11. I was all about that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so I'm curious, because you were talking about how like expensive something like this is. Were you an only child? It sounds
No.
It sounds like it. I mean, sending kids off to Italy sounds like a very only child kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm the oldest. My sister's 5 years younger than me, so I grew up with the idea that I'm an only child.
Okay.
But I'm not. And then I have 2 stepbrothers as well, but they weren't around by the time when I was in Italy, so it was just me. But I've always been a really independent person, even when I was a kid. So when my mom was like, I can't go with you to Italy, I was just like, sweet, yeah.
Right.
And I remember my coach, when we got there, was like, okay, Michelle, you need to call your mom and let her know that her child made it to Italy by herself. And I was like, nah, I'm good. Like, please call your mom. No, I'm good. I'm good.
Should be fine.
Like,
Should be fine.
Yeah, I was so happy from the break for my mom. But yeah, it seems like I was an only child, but I do have a sister.
Fair
Her
enough.
name's Nicole.
Fair enough. Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
All right, so we're gonna fast forward a little bit.
Yeah.
You retire from the sport in 2003. You are 19. I don't want to date you, but
It's okay.
you were 19 at the time. You did your final leg there was in Barcelona in Spain.
Yep.
You step away from baton twirling, and you move to Vancouver. I just love this sentence. you joined the circus. I just like that's always. It just sounds like such a fun thing. Like I ran away and I joined the circus. That just sounds awesome. So
Yeah.
good for you for doing it.
Thank you.
I
Thank
threatened
you.
it
I
as a
literally
child.
did that. Yeah.
I threatened all the time that I was going to run away and join the circus. You went and did it.
I did.
And then, you know, that's how you kind of got, and then you started getting into the stunts and the martial arts and stuff. So I'm curious, stepping away from the baton twirling, where did the idea, how did circus become even in that realm of the possible next step for you?
Well, it really came from a space of me wanting to expand on the training that I already had. Because I really felt like my baton career was just a beginning to something, that I had learned the skill very intensely at a very high level. But most people, when they retire from the sport at 18, 19, they just stop, or they go into coaching. And I really felt that there was something more to it. There was something more that I needed to explore. So that's why I moved to Vancouver. I started in the dance world, which is how I got connected to the circus world. And it came from a need for me for something just a little bit more athletic. Like I love dance, but I wanted to be able to use my natural strength and ability and flexibility in a way that was different than I had ever performed before. Because that's the other thing, is like I'd been performing in like a high capacity since I was 5 years old. Like I wanted to keep performing, but I wanted it to be different. And circus seemed like a logical step for me. Cirque du Soleil had always been in my periphery since I was 10 years old. They had actively reached out to myself and my teammates a few times, but we were just young and it wasn't the right time for us. And so then I got into circus, and I worked with pretty much at the time the only professional circus company in Vancouver. And I just absorbed as much as I could. I climbed the silks. I did a hoop act. I had a rope act. I did a contortion act, which is so strange because I am not a contortionist whatsoever. I did a handstand act. I had a partner balancing act called Hand to Hand with my little French friend Ninon. And I just tried all the things and continually trained and acquired new skills, because it felt like I was just compiling vocabulary and experiences for something else to come. And I'm really grateful for that time. I was with the Underground Circus for about eight-ish years. We were performing, like I was a professional working artist. I was living the dream. Like that's the hardest part, is to get consistent work and be able to make a living wage off of that. And I was doing that, and I was having a lot of fun for most of it. Towards the end, I felt like it was time to move on. But like how exhilarating it was to be able to go on a stage in a professional setting and climb a silk and do a silk act, when I had just learned, like the first time I did a silk act, I had only learned how to do silks in a month. And it was just sort of a rush. We need you to do this. And so I learned, but then I was able to do it. And it was just sort of this shift in my capacity of like, oh, I don't have to spend an entire lifetime to acquire a skill, right? Because I've already spent an entire lifetime learning how to use my body in a coordinated, agile, dexterous way. I can now apply that to other skills. And so I was able to perform at this professional level in all these different apparatus. And that was really exciting for me. And it was nice to try things in performance, because in competition, you don't get to do that. In a circus performance, there's so much you can get away with.
Yeah,
there's so
a
much
lot of wiggle
room.
Play.
Yeah. And we would do these things prior to gigs. They'd have us do, it's called animation, where you basically go out, because they're usually corporate events, because especially in Vancouver, original shows, you don't make any money doing that. So it's all corporate events for like Samsung, Disney, TELUS. So there would be these events and people would be mingling. There's a silent auction, and we would go out there in our little circus costumes. I usually had a purple sparkly unitard on, and we'd go and mingle with people as just whatever character you choose to be. And my little hand-to-hand partner and we would go to the silent auction table and move things around, or like my partner, you know, would take people's jewelry and like watch them freak out. But there was so much we could get away with because it was the era of circus. It's just so playful. And I really enjoyed that. I learned a lot about performance and professional performance in that space. And that's what I've learned. I don't climb silks or do hoop acts anymore at all. But I've taken the essence of what I've learned and I've included that in my professional career. And that is invaluable. That is what people who only grow up doing film don't have, is that one-on-one live reaction connection with people. Obviously we can't do that anymore because
right,
you know, but that just being able to have the confidence to put on makeup or a mask and just become someone else.
Yeah, I find it. I'm already. I don't know. I'm analyzing here, so I'm finding some things. So first, you know, you spent the early part of your life, way earlier than most, by the way, honing this very incredibly detailed, specific skill, and learning mastery over your body and hand movement and hand-eye coordination, all these different things. And it happens at a higher level at about 8-ish years, right? And then you transition, and then you go into this space that applies a lot of that, what you've learned, but in a very new way. And the way you know, came about studying one thing, you now kind of study everything. And and again, in the same about 8-ish years of mastering this and doing this, and I love the idea that, you know, it's about performance, right? Because it's while the competitive side of it was, you know, performing for judges and performing for other people, and then obviously the more theatrical of the circus life is performing for the customers. It's a real common thread you have going through here, and you can start to see the building blocks of what comes next. And so, speaking of that, you start getting into the stunt work. You start getting into the martial arts. How did that pivot come from circus to now pivoting into stunts and martial arts?
Yeah, it was all such a seamless transition. Even going from baton to professional dancer to circus, like the right people showed up at the right time that connected me to the thread that I needed. And the same thing happened with circus into stunts. The circus community and the stunt community in Vancouver are pretty closely related because a lot of times, like I said, there's performers that sort of dabble in both worlds because people are just trying to make a living. This is people's jobs. So the more you can get in, and film is especially so notoriously inconsistent that there's a lot of people that do both. And so I started seeing stunt performers in my training in various spaces, and you start to make friends with people. And then there was one day, I remember it so clearly, that a stunt performer who has since become like a good friend of mine, he was spinning a sword around doing cool stuff, and I was like, oh, I can do that. Like, no big deal. So I kind of went over and was like, look at that, and just started doing stuff, and people were like, wait, what? And I was just like, yeah, I was a baton twirler. Like, this is like mindless for me. And they're like, whoa, you could be a stunt performer. And then that sort of like sparked something. And then once I turned my attention to it, of like, oh, this is something that I might actually be interested in doing, because my goal initially was to work in film. I thought that it was going to be strictly acting because I didn't know stunts was a thing you could get into.
Right. Everybody knows acting. Nobody really thinks about the behind the scenes stuff of it. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm not from Vancouver originally, so even just working in the entertainment industry, I didn't know one person when I moved to Vancouver. So everything I have built has been built from scratch. But yeah, it didn't really clue into me until I was like, oh, I could do this. And then as I started asking a few more questions about how would I go about do this, people were like, well, you need to learn martial arts. You need to learn how to fight. You need to learn how to fall down. You need to, like, it's performance. I know all about performance. And somebody had told me really early on, because they're like, you have a lot of potential. Like, you could do really well at this. I was like, great. But somebody told me really early on that it's not often that they can find female stunt women. Oh my God, that you can find stunt women who can be aggressive enough in a fight. They're like, it's generally harder for women to find that aggression. I was just like, whoa, no, I can be aggressive. And I just happened to be going through an angrier phase of my life. And so I, again, asking questions, just asking people for guidance of like, where can I go train? Where's a good place to train? Somebody directed me to a really great Muay Thai gym. And so I started just learning Muay Thai, and with the hopes of working in film and one day being a good enough fighter to work in a stunt capacity. But I actually ended up falling in love with it. It was actually something I needed at the time. I needed that catharsis of just being able to get some anger and shame and aggression out in a way that's healthy and safe and is actually functioning as something that I can bring with me into the future. And I noticed then, as in my early days of learning martial arts, that martial arts is very compatible with dance. And I had spent a lot of time with very classical dance training in my youth, and I had moved to Vancouver to be a dancer. I was pretty good at it, and to sort of have that full circle of like, oh, this is why I train so intensely in dance, is so that I could come into these martial arts classes and take everything from turned out to parallel and grounded, but the essence and the movement felt very familiar to me. So I was able to progress really, really quickly. And I am a perfectionist and I love technique. So it spoke to me in a way. And then soon after that, started meeting more stunt people. And they told me about this class that only stunt people attend. And it was for Filipino martial arts, specifically Kali, which is, for people who don't know, the sticks like this.
Kali sticks.
Maybe not as shiny. And so I went to a Kali class, and then here I am flipping the stick around, and the instructor thought that I knew what I was doing and used me for all his examples in that class that I'd never done it before. But it was one of those moments where I was like, I need to pull from my bank of training and just figure it out right now. Yeah. And that is a skill that I've learned exudes professionalism, but because I had already trained so much, it was something that like, oh, I am capable of doing this. And then from then on, I was just like, oh, this is the direction I need to go, and just followed that wherever it wanted to take me.
It's incredible. I keep hearing about, as you're talking, you're talking about being open to the challenges and not just complacent, but also seeking out and trying to constantly push yourself, and then finding yourself in these situations where like, all right, I guess I'm gonna be the guy, and and then you're doing it and getting it done, and that's so cool to hear. One question, I'll finally toss it over to the audience here, Joshua. That's a great question. So from Joshua, he wants to know, like, what's a list of your stunt-related injuries?
I've been pretty lucky to be relatively healthy. Again, that comes back to a lifetime of training. I think one of the things that I depend on personally in my stunt career is trusting my body, trusting that my body will know what to do in time. I have a couple micro concussions from having whiplash so much. So now I have a hard time like putting my neck back because just of my anatomy and where my posture sits. When I get yanked into things, my head snaps. I do have a permanent shoulder injury. So I have a torn ligament in my shoulder. I don't know if it's from stunts or it might be from circus. It's from one of the two. I hyperextended my elbow, landing wrong one time. My other elbow, I was doing a scene for the show Motherland in the first season where I had my arms tied behind my back, and I was getting thrown into a flight of wooden sharp stairs, and my elbow pad had shifted because it was very hot and sweaty in the studio, and the stair landed in the soft tissue here, right on my ulna, like right in the middle, and then my arm swole up, and I didn't break anything, but my elbow has never been the same since. Yeah, aside from that, just some bumps and bruises. I haven't done too bad. I've landed on my hip and my tailbone quite hard a few times, and that's been jarring. Right before the lockdown, I did a ratchet, which is like a wire pull where you put a harness on and they hook you up to a single piston machine and it yanks you with force. Yeah, I landed a little too straight on my hip, and something happened where my hips did this, and I landed on my right hip, but somehow managed to like pull my left adductor, so my left inner thigh. Don't know how that worked.
Wow.
But yeah, that's been the worst of it for me, thankfully. I'm happy to not have any more injuries ever. So
Yeah, I mean, but by normal human standards, that all sounds horrible, but I can understand where in your profession that's relatively unscathed compared to some people.
Yeah, and that's just things that were lasting. I've had like a rib injury that came from circus. I've had like knee things and hip things, and like obviously some ankle things. I've broken fingers, obviously, but to me those just are like everyday things that happen like in training. And most
Sure.
of the time when I've gotten hurt, it's been in training, because we do such a great job in stunts of making sure that we have properly assessed all the risk involved, and if there's anything that feels unsafe, you bring it up. But there are people that have horrific stories, and
Sure.
yeah, and that's not to say that stunts doesn't hurt, because you might not get an injury, but it might hurt like hell on the day.
Yeah, you know,
or for
being
the next 4 days.
thrown downstairs and off buildings and hit by cars. I mean, you tend to feel
That
it.
shit hurts. You might not get injured, but it hurts.
For sure. It's like, professional wrestling. I'm like, yeah, it's staged, it's fake, but one dude jumping off a ladder onto a table in a chair, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt.
If you're flat backing onto any, like on those wrestling mats, I know that they do have a lot of bounce and give, but anytime you do a flat back or any sort of fall, that is impact in your body. That is your skeleton being shuffled around and jostled around. So yeah, even if it doesn't hurt, you're making some sort of impression on your body.
Yeah, Scott, I think in reference to when we were talking about the circus stuff, he said anyone can be a contortionist with enough force. So.
Oh no, sure, but yeah.
Like, it doesn't sound like it would be. It's like closing a duffel bag, and if it fits, it ships. Yeah, you guys are hilarious. By the way.
My version of contortion was because I used to. My body doesn't do this anymore, but I used to be able to like pull my leg up and pull it behind my head. So that was all my like contortion act was just like, look how flexible my hamstrings are. That's it.
We're good. I don't want to. No, that sounds horrible.
Do that anymore.
Scott also says, all right, you guys love this. All right. We all know that CQ wants to ask, what do you look for in a guy? There you go. That's from the chats. That is not from me.
Okay. Fair enough. Honestly, I'm looking for somebody that is secure. Not that I'm like actually looking, because I'm really not. But someone who is secure in themselves, because there is so much insecurity out there, especially for someone like me. I'm a very strong woman. I'm tall. I obviously have a lot of ability. So I come off as rather intimidating. But I'm not meaning to be intimidated. But if you are intimidated by me, and trust me, I can tell, that just shows me that there's just something in you that's reacting to a trait that I have. And so if you're just really secure and confident and happy about who you are, and you've done your own personal work, that goes a long way. You don't even have to tell anybody that you've done that. It's just an aura that you carry with you of like, I am an aware person. I know who I am. I know what my patterns and traits, my strengths and weaknesses are, because if you don't think you have weaknesses, you do. Yeah, that I think that's my biggest thing is somebody who's like really self-aware and confident in themselves. That's super attractive.
Excellent, excellent. And I think there was one from, I think it was Jim. Sorry if I didn't, because it was way back there. But and this is kind of jumping ahead a little bit because we haven't gotten into like the Hollywood of it yet. But
Right.
is there anyone that you've met that you've been starstruck? Like who's that person that like gotcha?
Not really. Honestly, I've worked with some very high level people, some lovely people. I worked with Ryan Reynolds, obviously, on Deadpool. He was lovely, very funny. Overall, like great energy on set. I really enjoyed my experience on Deadpool. But I wasn't a huge Ryan Reynolds fan. I also worked with Jason Momoa on the first season of C, the Apple TV Plus something show. Um, he was also very lovely, but I wasn't a huge Momoa fan beforehand. I'm actually more of a Momoa fan now that I know
Right,
him and have worked with him,
right.
because he was wonderful. Um, yeah, honestly, I used to love the Backstreet Boys when I was younger, and like had a thing for Nick Carter. Then I met Nick Carter, and then that was over. But
Sure.
I've idolized people, but I've also, as I frontiered into the film industry, you realize that they're just people,
Hmm.
and they're people who are working at the highest level, but they're no different than we are. And sometimes they're there because they have worked their asses off to get there and they deserve every bit of success. Sometimes people are just people that got lucky or asked for a favor or just were at the right place at the right time. And so there's really no difference between them and us. And when I'm on set, I'm just who I am. I'm super intense like this. Like I'm really focused on what I'm doing, especially in stunts where you have to be on all the time. If you're like, oh my God, that's like, first of all, it's distracting. Nobody cares. And so oftentimes there will be people around where I'm like, oh, that I guess that person's important, but like I gotta fall on the ground later. So I gotta focus on what I need to do to keep myself safe.
Sure.
And I don't consume a lot of content, to be quite honest, because it does feel like I'm watching work happen.
Sure.
So a lot of times I don't know who people are, and I've never watched half the shows that I've been on, especially like the CW shows. Like I don't even have a TV, so unless it's on Netflix, chances are I've never seen it.
Fair
But
enough.
I do really enjoy or admire people in the industry who are successful, who have persevered with their own ideas and their own creativity, even if it's not a popular idea, even if they aren't super high up in the industry. Like I really admire people that are like, I have an idea and I'm going to pursue it to that idea's end and see what happens. I think Dan Levy is a really good example of somebody that I admire, where he's a Canadian guy. We're relatively the same age. And he'd never written a series before. He'd never acted in a series before. He'd never show run a series. He'd never produced a series. He'd never written. He'd never directed. Yet he did all those things. He created a project for himself, hired all the people that he knew, and just stuck with it until its end. And look how successful he's been from that and continues to be successful from that. And so I really admire that. Those are the people that I would be like, oh my God, like
That's yeah.
I need to have a conversation with you. Like, how did you do it? Let me pick your brain about how you, like, what your mindset was.
Well,
That's who I admire.
I get that. I 100% get it, and just getting to know you through this conversation, it makes total sense. Nothing about what we've talked about to this point screams to me that this is a person that's going to be so star-studded. Oh my God, I'm starstruck by this actor. But the idea of like, wow, you've mastered this craft. I want to know more. Like, I want to sit down
Yeah.
and pick your brain. It
Yeah.
makes total sense for who you are as a person, as a character.
Thank you.
Now,
Thank you.
and there's a couple more questions about the stunts and stuff, and I do. Obviously, it's such a big thing, and I want to get into it. But I have one more before we talk about that. That I know you did this, and I'm so fascinated by it. You did this 800-kilometer trek
Yeah.
through Spain. You did a pilgrimage
Uh-huh.
called Camino de Santiago, and I want to understand what led to the choice of doing this. Just you, your backpack, your shoes, and go. Like, what spurred that on, and what did you get out of that?
Yeah, that moment, that path opened up for me during my sort of what we would describe as the dark night of the soul, or maybe a quarter life crisis of some kind. I had my first half of my stunt career. It took me a while to establish myself. Even though I had all these skills and I had this capacity, it took me a while to get other people to see that. And there's many reasons why. My weight had always been something that people would put against me, because on paper, I look much bigger with numbers than I actually am. And that has been the story of my entire life. And in the film industry, because it's such an aesthetic industry, I was getting a lot of pushback for that. But I'm such an honest person that I had a really hard time lying on my resume. And a lot of the actors, especially sort of that, I did the Camino in 2013. So like pre-2012, it was still very, very, very thin actors who were getting the roles. And so I felt like I was giving so much to my career, and had been giving so much to my career since I was 5 years old. Like, this is all I'd ever done. And it was just like blood, sweat, tears, money, energy. I gave it all. And then finally caught a little bit of a break on a CW show where the coordinator had called me and be like, I might have a gig for you, but you're going to have to lose some weight. And I was like, cool. How do I do that? And they're like, you do whatever it takes. And me, being super intense and focused and serious about my career, I took that as I need to stop eating. And I ended up developing this whole eating disorder phase of my life. I didn't actually even get the job in the end. They didn't even tell me that they weren't going to use me. I found out like 6 months later, after I had been like basically killing myself. Sorry about trigger warning, anybody. But yeah, I was not being good to myself. And I just sort of broke one day. And I just like remember waking up and looking at myself in the mirror, and I was like gray and like gaunt and like didn't recognize myself. I just suddenly nothing made sense. And I'd always been so goal focused and motivated and had a purpose. And suddenly I have nothing. I don't know who I am, what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. Like, what am I doing here? And I'd never felt like that before in my life. And so I just sort of like called out to the universe of like, I need to go on a walk. I need to go on an adventure. And I've always been a walker. I'm like a bit of a grandma from an early age. I'd always just take myself on walks, even as a kid. I liked exploring. And so I just sort of said to the universe, like, I need to do something. And a few weeks later, my mom had sent me an email of like, oh, did you mean something like this? And it was like a walking tour in Europe somewhere. I was like, yes, minus the guided walking tour part of it. And then just slowly the universe just started putting the Camino in front of me. And so my breaking point was January 2013. By August 24th, 2013, I was in Spain starting my Camino de Santiago from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port in France. And I walked 800 kilometers all the way across rural Spain to Santiago in the west coast of Spain. And it was life-changing. It, like, highly recommend if you're into it. It was very challenging physically. There was days where your feet hurt so fucking bad. But what are you going to do? Sit down and stop and give up? Like, you can't. And then there's days where generally I was walking 20 to 30 kilometers a day. I don't know what that is in miles, but 800 kilometers is about 500 miles.
Right, about 500, sure.
So that Proclaimer's song of I will walk 500 miles, and that song has a very special place in my heart. So I was walking 20 to 30 kilometers a day. And so like by 15 kilometers, you're like, I'm tired. My feet are killing me. But like the nearest town is 10 kilometers back that way or 5 kilometers that way. So what do? You just keep going. And I developed this mantra of just keep walking. And I would like do it with my steps of just keep walking, just keep, because that's the only thing you can do. There's no outside distractions. It's just you and like the stars or the sky and the earth. They often like no sound pollution, no light pollution. I remember hearing just the crunch of the gravel under my feet and distant like cow or sheep bells every now and then. But other than that, just silence. And I walked for 33 days and had epiphany after epiphany, had breakdown after breakdown, and then finally made it. And it was this like moment of like, how could I ever doubt myself with anything that I do? Like, look what I just did. I literally walked all the way across a country to get to, is a big cathedral at the end. That didn't really have much meaning to me, but it was just the act of like,
you completed it. You got to the end.
Yeah. The completion of it. And it was a battle. It was the battle with myself and a battle with my emotions and a battle with like my body and the elements and like, oh, wow. And I felt that when I finished that I was a blank slate, that I could start over and reinvent myself, because I felt for the first time I actually met myself. Whereas before I'd always had this idea of who I should be. And then for the first time on the Camino, I was just like, oh, that's who Michelle is.
That's incredible.
That's who I am. Okay.
I can't. Yeah. I get grumpy if you know, I'm following my wife around the mall. If we're walking for 15, 20 minutes, I'm I can't imagine walking for 33 days, 500 miles. That is insane. But I can't imagine you said, what came out of it.
Yeah, but there's also no set schedule. You could, like, I went for 33 days because that's what my body wanted. But there was days when I didn't walk at all. There was days when I only walked 5 kilometers because I just walked and was just like, you know, I don't feel like it. I'm going to sit down and have 4 coffees, 3 croissants, and then like 3 glasses of wine. That's what I'm going to do today. But I would say if anybody's interested, give yourself about 40 days and then you can walk at your own pace. And yeah, like it is your own adventure. I took the bus a couple times because my body hurt so bad, and that the bus ride was part of my Camino. And I'm still processing what I learned in the Camino. There was a lot about my ego. The first day out of Saint Jean is the hardest because you walk over the Pyrenees and like down into Spain. And I was like, I'm a professional athlete. Watch me go. It's like 25 kilometers, 20 straight up, 5 down. And I was just like, watch me. Yeah. Like barely stopped all day because I'm so fit. Got to the bottom, was one of the first 5 or 10 people to the next, I call them albergues, but hostels basically. And then like over hours, people would start showing up. And then the next day, I could barely move. And that was the second day of the Camino. And there's this big sign, I have a picture of it, just as you're leaving that little town, you're walking away, and it says Santiago 789, like how many more kilometers. And I was like, I can barely move. And then meanwhile, there's like middle-aged mom and dad who were finally on the Camino are just like, do, 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 no big deal. And I was just like, I'm a professional athlete. What the fuck? And so my body taught me a lot about ego.
Yeah. And
slowing down and enjoying the process. And it's not a race. And like, yeah. I highly recommend.
Understand. Yeah, I was injured in combat, and you know, being the fittest I'd ever been, and this hard charging, you know, grunt, and then being in a hospital bed where, like, you know, I had to have nurses wash me and clean me because like I couldn't do it myself. It's like, oh, check the ego at the door. Like, you're gonna learn a lot about yourself when push comes to shove.
Absolutely.
That's
absolutely
so cool. My God, like it's already we're almost at an hour, and like I feel like we haven't
I don't
even
know how that
got
happened.
into the
It's
the
okay. Let's
crux
keep
of
going.
it.
Keep going.
All right. Yeah, and everybody's loving this stuff, by the way. Okay, so now we're past the Camino. We're this is where things start to pick up as far as projects, shows. Doing a stint in Smallville, doing a stint on Arrow, which real quick, you get to do the stunt double for the character the Huntress in an episode.
Yes.
Which I got it. What was it like putting on the outfit? Like is it? Do you feel powerful? Like you're in this superhero costume?
Yeah. Okay. I've worn those costumes a few times. So I doubled Black Canary in Smallville back in like 2010-ish, 2011. But by the time those CW shows got to Arrow, they had vamped up their costumes. Like
Right.
they had started putting a lot more budget into them. And there's a lot of layers and zippers to them and a lot of snaps, but you feel hot. Like you put them on because they make like the actress gets her own costume that is hers, and then stunts. We usually get a little bit bigger because we have to wear pads, so they have to generally just afford a little bit more room for that. But you put it on and it's made specifically for you, and you're like, I'm the coolest person here. Yeah, I did rip my $800 pants twice on that show, but that's normal for me. Like I rip the seams in my jackets and I rip the crotch out of my pants, and I tell costumes every time, I'm like, just so you know, I'm probably gonna rip these. And they're like, oh, we'll fix it. I'm like, okay. But yeah, every time I've gotten to wear those costumes, you just feel so cool because they're so well made. Like the quality is so good. They're so legit. And I really like that one because it was black and purple. It's a little bit more my own personal style.
Right.
But yeah, I felt super cool and super hot.
That's awesome. Yeah, and because I do remember, watching the Smallville shows, and it was supposed to be very understated. It's rural farmland, and then when they started like taking that next step into like, okay, here's Aquaman, and but they were just like colored T-shirts, and it's like, this is my superhero outfit. But then you get into Arrow, and like you said, they really put. I mean, it's not. I don't want to say comic book accurate, but they definitely really drew closer to what you would see in your traditional stuff. And you did. Then you got to be the stunt double for Gina Carano in Deadpool. So I mean, while not necessarily a superhero, so to speak, I mean, I watched some of the behind the scenes, the stunt work and stuff that you did, and I mean, you really took a beating in that one. I mean, like, thrown to the ground, thrown to the walls, all that stuff. I mean, any things that particularly stick out in your mind about the work that you did on Deadpool?
Oh, I loved Deadpool. Deadpool was the first time in my career that I felt validated in what I had to bring to the table. I think before I was always trying to prove myself. And while there was sort of an element of that for me, I felt like I was appreciated by the team and I was part of the team. I was a valuable member of the team. So I really enjoyed my experience. Gina was awesome. Again, Ryan was great. Ed, who played the bad guy. His name's Ed.
Ajax, yeah. He played the character Ajax.
Yeah, he was wonderful. I saw him and Gina more than I did Ryan, because Ryan was also executive producer, so he's super busy. Director was great. For Deadpool, though, mostly what I did was all the wire pulls. So like when Angel Dust gets yanked into things. We didn't do all of them on the day. A lot of them got done in post, but I rehearsed every single gag where she gets thrown into something. I rehearsed in some capacity, and then I performed 3 of them on set. And I did rehearse, like learn and rehearse the fights. I previs them, which is when the stunt team films each fight shot for shot, like it would be shot on the day, just in a rehearsal context, which we submit to production, and all the different departments watch it so that they know what to shoot, what to light, what the characters are doing, what the geography of the scene is. So I did all of that, and then Gina would come in and learn it. She had tweaks, and then she performed all the fights on the day, because Gina's a real fighter.
Oh, yeah.
She fought for real, like got hit in the face and punched other people in the face for real.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna go in there and be like, sit down, Gina, watch me go. Like, no. That was never gonna happen. So she did all her fights full out. Like, at no time did I need to come in and hit the ground for her. Like, she's super tough. If she wanted to be a stunt performer, she would crush it.
Right.
I'm positive she doesn't want to do that. But that in a parallel universe, that would have been a path for her. So yeah, that was a really fun show because of the working relationship that Gina and I had.
Yeah.
And it was nice to have another strong woman present and have somebody be like, will you do this? I just want to see the way you do it. And so then I would do it. She'd be like, okay, great. And then she would go and do her thing. But it was just really nice to feel like I was contributing to something, because that's often what I haven't felt in my stunt career is that my contribution was valued in any way. And so Deadpool was that experience where I was like, oh, I do matter. Okay.
This is what it could be like. Yeah, this is a good relationship. There was always, years of like an abusive relationship, and all of a sudden you find the right one, and you're like, oh, this is nice. This is what it should be like.
Film will trick you like that. I think the film industry as a whole is a bit of an abusive relationship, but then every now and then you get these like golden nuggets of like, oh, this is awesome.
Well, it makes you appreciate, makes you appreciate what you have. And I'm curious about that too, because like with someone like Gina, who, like you said, is a real fighter, because then it becomes like, oh, I can do it myself, and the physicality I'm sure she can bring to the role of this tough as nails fighter. But then there's also the what's gonna look good on film, which can sometimes be. You look at someone like Ronda Rousey or Gina, or these guys that like they know how to fight, they know how to scrap, they know how to do these things, but that's not necessarily from a stunt perspective what's always going to look good on film. So I guess that's a balance you guys have to work out.
Yeah, and that's what a good fight coordinator and a good stunt coordinator and a good double discover together. But film fighting is its own martial art. And I think that's what sort of the general population doesn't really understand. But there's a lot of elements in traditional martial arts or even modern martial arts, the way that martial arts are evolving now, that when you do that on camera, it doesn't read. Or like jujitsu is beautiful. And every now and then you can put a little jujitsu into a fight scene. But jujitsu, when you're just rolling on the floor, that doesn't capture well on camera.
Not sexy to look at.
So we often will put in throws and maybe like an arm lock or something like that. But there's not much else you can do other than that. And really high level jiu-jitsu practitioners will know what's going to work. And that's sort of that balance that we're looking to find. And so it all comes down to training and preparation. So these high level fighters do have the capacity to learn the rules of film fighting, because there's definitely rules. There's ways that you do things differently. Like a hook in a regular fight is really tight, but a film hook, you have to cross the lens, and then you have to like twist your body, and like there's a whole bunch of other things. And so some people catch on really quickly. Other people, especially people that have a background in martial arts, and I've noticed this through actors just in general, where they're just like, I can't let myself do anything else than this very specific technique that I've learned. And so sometimes it's a bit of a battle, but I like to present fight scenes and choreography in a way that's accessible to actors, even if we have to go back to the beginning and just break it down, just to establish some foundations and rules of like, okay, when we have the camera, this is what we need this to be, and this is what we need that to be. But that's what a good stunt team does, is they prepare their actors for exactly that. But not a lot of times, especially on TV shows, like episodic TV shows, like we have a lot of in Vancouver, working really fast. On a feature, you have weeks, months to rehearse a fight. On TV shows, the actors get 2 hours, and 2 days later they're filming it and they have to look badass. So it's really, really difficult sometimes to create the essence that character is as badass and proficient as the story needs them to be. And that's why the doubles end up getting used more often for fight scenes. Is just, we don't want to spend all day like perfecting this person's technique when they have a whole monologue later. Let's just do it with the doubles, get it done, so we can move on.
Yeah, that's so good. Scott brings up a couple good points, and in contrasting what we've been talking about with also in the military. So, like with your walk, I know this was a few minutes ago, but with the walk, he's saying pick a point, walk to it, pick a point, walk to it, is something we do in long marches in the military, in long ruck marches and things like that. It's always just like, all right, get to the next thing, get to the next thing. And then we were talking about, kind of that abusive relationship in the film industry. And he said it's similar in the military, where you're like, man, this sucks. And then, oh, well, you get a good leader. And then it's like, oh, this is what good military should be like. So there's a lot of similarities in what we're talking about in the military experience. So I
didn't know
nice.
That. That's good to know. Thank you for telling me that.
I'm curious from your perspective, what are common misconceptions about stunt work?
That anybody can do it. I get a lot of people leaving comments or asking me questions of like, I can do a backflip. How do I get into stunts? And I have to be like, I hate to break it to you, but every single stunt person can do a backflip, my friend. So if you want to get into stunts, you have to be willing to dedicate yourself to training every day and learning every day, and be willing to do the things you don't want to do in order to maybe once do the thing that's your specialty. Like, even as weapons are my specialty, it's only been in the last few years that I've really started, like, those are the gigs that I get. I had to go through all of the mud and prove myself with all of the other stuff. I had to hit the ground hard many, many times and be tested many, many times in order to come to a place where people are like, oh yeah, she's legit, she belongs to be here. So I think people think that you can just sign up somewhere and become a stunt person. No, my friends, no, that's not how it works. Stunts is all about relationships. So we don't have agents for stunts. It is all relationship based. So you have to get into the community, get to know the community, get to know the stunt coordinators, and then they have to learn to trust you. So you're not going to get big gigs right away. And yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things, is that you just sign up for some stunt school somewhere and now you're a stunt performer. But
I mean, yeah, that definitely seemed, yeah, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. So in touching on that, do you feel that at this moment that you have like trademark moves, like something that that gets you more attention and something that you do?
Anything to do with like stabs or swords, that's my thing. Any weapons in general, actually. I get a lot of my film colleagues, actors even as well, not just stunt people, that know me for the work that I do with weapons, and like they're like, can you teach me? I need to learn how to do this. Or there's a show coming up and they're going to use this type of weapon. Can you help me out with that? And so yeah, that is my trademark. And I'm in a space now where I'm not taking any more stunt performance gigs. Like, I'm good. I'm very fulfilled in my stunt performance career. So now in the space of teaching, I'm really happy that that's what people come to me for. They recognize that I have a lot of expertise in something. And it's not just how to move the weapon. A lot of times what I'm sharing with people is like, okay, so we're going to learn these skills because we're going to learn the technique, but this is the way it's going to happen on set. The director is going to be like, can you just do something fancy with that sword? And you need to have something like that. And you go, oh, like this? And they're like, yep, that's perfect. So those are the things that I pass on to performers, because that's, in my experience, that's exactly what happens. All the fancy hard tricks, they're not going to hire other people. If they want fancy hard tricks, they're going to hire me. So you don't have to worry about that. But what you do need to worry about is looking like you're proficient with a weapon. And that is like across the board with actors or stunt performers. That is everything that I'm trying to offer to people, is like, this is how you look like you know what you're doing, even if this is the first time you've ever touched this weapon in your life.
Oh,
and
awesome.
That brings me endless joy. I love doing that.
Yeah. And I know there was there was a video that kind of went viral, where you were doing some stunt work with the lightsaber. Well, not a real lightsaber, obviously, but a
Really?
prop lightsaber. And I know there was this Wired interview with Daisy Ridley, where like your name comes up, they show her the video.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. Like it's been viewed like 5.5 million times.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill tweeted it out. That had like 80,000 views, whatever. When you see that kind of reaction to the work that you're doing, and it's just you doing what you do, but and not maybe so much like, oh, Daisy Ridley saw, but just the kind of the reaction that it drew from just the general public. I mean, what does that mean to someone in your position to get that kind of I don't know, notoriety or kind of just that viralness?
Recognition.
Sure.
That was a very exciting moment for me, for two reasons. Because she said my name twice, but she also mentioned Michelle Pfeiffer, Catwoman, in the same sentence. And Catwoman is like the one for me. I had the Michelle poster of this in my bedroom for years when I was a kid, of her Catwoman. And Batman Returns is still one of my favorite movies. So that too, I was like, she said Michelle Pfeiffer and Michelle C. Smith in the same like 30 seconds. Like, it's happening. And yeah, it was nice for someone like Daisy to see that. It was nice for someone like Mark Hamill to retweet that. I still haven't worked on Star Wars. So there's that. And it's just really nice because it feels like I've been working for recognition for so long, and I sort of picked a career path in stunts, which is a bit of an invisible career, and it's been challenging sometimes to sit with that, and that's why I'm now like shifting gears on my own and being like, no, I want people to see this, I want people to recognize this, because it means that people are interested in it. And I know that people have this idea that baton twirling is some nerdy thing where you're in pageants and marching in white boots, and in some parts of the States and other parts of the world, that's what it is, but that's not what I did. Mine was like artistic and athletic and a lot more akin to like rhythmic gymnastics meets figure skating. So knowing that people are interested in the work that I'm doing shows me that there's people out there that want to learn it, because I didn't spend my whole life learning how to do this stuff to keep it for myself. 100%, that is not what it is. So knowing that I'm getting the confirmation that, oh, people are interested in this, people do want to learn this, it speaks to people's inner child. That to me is like, I'm doing the right thing, I'm on the right path. And that's what that confirmation is. And I've had a few viral videos, some with lightsabers, some with stabs. And again, it's just confirmation that people are interested. And if people are interested, it means that somebody out there wants to learn it, and I want to teach you, and that's that.
Yeah, so I've seen the stuff you started doing with the rope darts, which I thought was, I mean, it's such an intrigue. Like, it's one thing to be like, I can swing a sword around. Like, yeah, I feel like I can do that. That's one of those skills where like, yeah, there's no way. I'd end up choking myself out, stabbing myself in the eye. Like, that is such an intricate, specific skill, and it just looks so challenging. But you make it look good.
It's an advanced weapon. Thank you. But you know what? This is my thing. Like, my base is staff spinning. That's what I teach the most. But all of weapons and props in general, when you're moving them around, everything shares a universal language. Just because of the laws of physics in this current reality that we are in, if you are holding something at a fixed point, it's generally always going to move in the same way. You just might have to change it based on the characteristics of whatever tool you're using, whether that be a staff or a sword or like a collie stick or juggling cues or a hoop or a rope dart. Rope dart just happens to be one of the hardest ones because it's a soft weapon, so it does have a mind of its own sometimes. But if you know the technique of one weapon, specifically staff is where you would start, you were much more likely to be able to spin other weapons because they're all just sharing that same language. You just have to change the dialect a little.
You make it sound so beautiful and so artistic, I guess is the word.
Thank you.
And
that is my life.
and I gotta say too, you know, your social media game is on point. Like I'm looking through your stuff and I'm just like, man, like I need to like that's the one thing. Like I love doing this. I love getting to know someone. I love the interview part. I love the research part. I suck at the social media part. I cannot promote to save my life. But I mean, you're 150,000 likes or follows on Facebook and 260,000 on YouTube, 591,000 Instagram, 883,000 on TikTok. Like, what do you think about what you're doing is connecting with people in such a way that they're following in droves?
Yeah, well, I've been working on social media since at least, I think I started posting videos of me doing staff stuff around like 2015. It was around when I was working on Deadpool, so around 2015. And a lot of it is just consistency, just constantly putting stuff out there. So it has taken me 7 years to build up to this point. And I've had the privilege of having a few viral videos along the way, which really helps with numbers because you gain a lot of people. But I've had my very first video that went viral on Facebook, and it did like 2 million views on Facebook or something, and only 2,000 views on Instagram. And then another video will go viral on Instagram and it'll get 0 views on Facebook. Or right now, I just had a viral video on TikTok that did 13 million views and then only had like a couple 100,000 on Instagram. So it's just sort of playing the numbers game. I know that some like bigger companies have figured out the viral video game, but it really is just about consistency. And I think that what my material speaks to people is that inner child. So many people grew up wanting to be a Ninja Turtle or a Jedi or a ninja growing up, but then we're told that that's childish, you can't do that. And then there was no avenue for people to learn that. So it's just you watching cartoons and like rah, 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 rah. And that, I think that's where the sport of baton has sort of missed the mark, because if baton would have been a little bit more accessible to a variety of different people, I think that more people would have gotten into baton. And that's a big part of what I'm trying to shift right now, is I'm just trying to create something that takes the essence of that like inner child. I want to spin a sword or a staff and feel really cool, add some technique to it, and build something that's really cool. And I think that's what's bringing people in, whether you want to learn it or wish that you could learn it, but it's fun to watch. It's fun. It's because it's like a magic trick. I know, like it looks like it looks easy. I know, but it's not. But I think it really speaks to people's inner child. And I really think that people want to feel cool. Like, how much did we search for significance and acceptance growing up just to feel like we're a part of something, when we learn that as an adult that you don't need any of that. Just you liking and enjoying the things that light you up or what make you cool. And that's what this is.
Yeah.
That's what staff spinning is. And that's what my whole page is like, I'm just doing this and it looks cool. You want to learn? Come on.
Yeah. And I mean, like, there's such a want for it. You look at these like Jedi training academies that have popped up where like we'll teach you the ways of the force, but like how to like fight with lightsabers and things like that. So I agree with you. How many viral videos was it? The Star Wars kid where he's just spinning around the thing in his garage, and you're right. There's such a want for it, and I was a Ninja Turtle for Halloween. I was a ninja for Halloween. Like, I thought I remember Three Ninjas was such a cool movie when I was a kid. It was like these kids that become ninjas, like awesome. So yeah, there is that part that just, it's raw. It touches that thing. There's this one I saw you do, and again, all of your videos are incredible. And I'm sorry to nerd out over them, but there's this one you do that you had the two, I don't know, they were Kylie sticks or something. You had two in one hand, and you like, I don't know, it was like you flipped them behind your back or something. You did something crazy where they're spinning through the air, and like you catch one high and catch one low, and I'm just like, I don't know, it's like this weird juggling ninja move, and I don't know how you do it, but it's incredible. And I was gonna like
It's like a magic trick.
it's crazy. Like, how do
Yeah.
you, because you can spin something so fast and just, it's like you just reach out and grab them and they're exactly where they need to be at that moment. And that's just mind boggling.
Yes. And that comes down to a lifetime of training, of dropping it a bazillion times in order to get to that point where I just kind of expect to know where they are. That's been my whole lifetime, especially that first chunk of my life where I was doing baton. I do have a tutorial for that skill. It's called double toss on my YouTube. You could learn it. You could do it.
Not me, but I'm sure other people could. I absolutely agree. Other people could.
It's accessible. It's an intermediate skill. I'll just put that out there.
Okay. So now because I do want to promote the work you have and where people can find your thing. I do have one question. Are you involved in any way, the video game Beyond Good and Evil? I swear I saw a video where they have a character that's working like bow staff, and I could have swear I saw you in a behind the scenes video working that. Are you involved in that?
Yeah, I was. I did a motion capture shoot for that. I hope that it's okay to talk about it because they did put out that behind the scene video.
I mean, it's out there.
Motion capture, I've worked on a few video games that I don't even know the names of. Because the motion capture world with video games, they're so secretive. They are like, no, we can't even tell you the names. You can't put this on your resume until the game comes out in 2025. I'm like, okay, I'll forget about it by then.
Fair
Thank
enough.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did work on that shoot. I was like a while ago. That would have been like 2017 that I did that.
Yeah, we've been waiting for that
fun.
game a long time. It's still not out. We're still waiting for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's still not
They're
out.
so complex.
And I'm curious, so the only question I'll ask about that is just what really stands out to you, the difference between trying to do that motion capture for a game and then something that like we're trying to make it look good on film?
Oh, yeah. That's a good question because on film, you kind of have to be able to do it practically, especially for a fight that is specialty weapons based. And like if you start adding all these extra fancy skills you have and you're in a fight with a lot of performers, chances are you're going to create what we call eggs. So these moments where performers are waiting to come in, which is why it's harder to put the fancy skills into a practical fight. Whereas in motion capture, because it's a video game, they can sort of pick and choose where they put those skills, and they can technically make it work for a fight because they can speed things up, or they can delay another character coming in to fight, or it can be like an idle skill. I find that a lot of the skills that I've done for motion capture are idling, like where the character's just like doing its thing, and then all of a sudden it's like shoot, 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 and then idling. Do, 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 do. And so I've done a lot of that, but it gives you a lot more freedom to be a little bit more creative with the flashier material, I've found in my experience of doing motion capture. But motion capture, those days are generally harder than a lot of stunt days, except for the stunt days where you're like constantly hitting the ground all day. But those motion capture days, those are 8-hour days, but they will work you for 8 hours. And like you'll get a lunch break and everything, but like if like you know that you're going in for a video game motion capture thing, you know you're going to be working hard that day.
Sure. Yeah, I've talked to a lot of actors and voice actors who talk about like in a movie, you might run a scene 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 times. When you're doing something for a game, it's like we're gonna need you to read this line 600 different ways and 600 different times each way, just to get it right. And it's like, whew, that sounds exhausting.
Yeah. I've done motion capture things where they're just programming new characters where you have to do all of their like body movements, including like this is how they walk, this is how they turn a corner, this is how they turn another corner, this is how they do a U-turn, this is how they run, this is how they sprint. All day. Those are brutal days.
Oh, I can't imagine. All right. So I want you to tell us about MichelleCSmith.com and the Online Badass Academy. I want to hear about it.
Ooh, yeah. This is exciting because I am right in the middle of doing a big overhaul of my academy and a huge relaunch. So basically, my website is MichelleCSmith.com. You should go to it. I think it's pretty slick. I did it myself. Yeah. And that's sort of my base as I'm sort of shifting out of performer mode. I'm going into speaking, and obviously I'm an educator. And that's going to be the hub for that. But that's a directory where you can get to my social media, my email list, and my academy. We're rebranding the academy to Freestyle Staff Academy and using Online Badass Academy as like an umbrella for an even bigger thing. But yeah, in the academy, you have like my entire syllabus starting from the very beginning, and it's going to take you all the way to an intermediate level. And then in October, I'm going to film the intermediate level, and we're going to build it all the way out to an advanced level. I'm super excited about it. It's a lot of work. I'm not stressed out at all. But I'm really excited because it really is my way of sharing with the world all of these skills that I know from the very start. And like, I'll just take you through everything, and everything is a progression of the last skill. You get a practice guide, you get lesson plans. There's so much in there. There's so much material in there. And it's all about me just wanting to like create an accessible space for people to learn this. And that's what the academy is. And I'm really excited for what it's going to be. If anybody's interested in learning staff spinning, the relaunch is going to go live for the beginner platform in the next couple weeks, but the price is going to go up. So if you want to get in at a lower price, now is the time to get in there. Just saying, if you're interested in that. But yeah, that was a passion project of mine 2 years ago. My whole point is to obviously to create a platform where I can teach people. It's really challenging to be doing like online Zoom classes and reach enough people. So that's why I created the membership platform. And I want to make it a really like robust happening place where it's a community. I think that building a community these days is everything. That is what sustains you throughout all of the stuff that's going on in the world. Just having a place where you feel accepted, it's open and safe for you to be who you are. I think that's a really important space, and a space where you're encouraged to try new things and to fail and to succeed. And that's really what that whole academy is about. And everyone that has joined me calls themselves the Badass Family, which I love. Everybody's welcome to join. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm really excited to build that out and level it up, because I built it all myself. I edited all those. There's like 50 plus videos in there. I edited those myself, and I built that whole website by myself. And I've just since hired a digital marketer, and I have a business manager now. So hopefully the new one's going to be even better. So I'm really excited about that.
And there's stuff on there for free too, right? It's not all just paid stuff. Like I took a spin, I took a tour through it, and I really liked it. I liked the stuff that I was seeing. I'm excited to see what the level up is. I'm excited to see what the next stuff is.
Yeah. Well, there's a free course that's in there now, which has 5 skills. I just filmed a new free course that has more skills. It's a people would pay like $150 for what my new free course is, but it's going to be free. It's really good. So I hope people really like it. And it's all the skills and then how to put them together in a combo. And you'll the whole point is just for you to feel like a total badass. If you feel cool, doesn't matter how good you are at this. If you feel cool, you are doing it right. And that's all I want you to get out of it. So I'm really excited for it. And plus I have all my stuff on YouTube, and I have tutorials on TikTok. I was going to say Twitter, but not Twitter. It's TikTok and Instagram. There's tutorials on there as well. My goal is to just make it as accessible as possible. So even if you don't have the income to be in the academy, you're still part of the Badass family, because there's so much free content out there for you.
Yeah. And honestly, I love, I followed you across all the social medias, because all the stuff you put
Thank
out
you.
is so good, and it's I just
Thank
get to
you.
like sit there and I'm just like, oh man, that's cool. Oh man, that's cool. Oh man, that's way cool. So it's awesome
Yeah.
stuff. Is there anything else that we haven't touched on? Anything you want to promote? Anything people should look out that's coming down the pipe? Anything at all that you wanna share?
It's all about this academy relaunch. Like I said, if you want to get in at the lower rate that it is now, feel free to head to badassacademy.online and sign up for the free course. Check that one out because it is going to change soon. And then get into the academy now because once it all switches over, like I said, the rates will go up. But yeah, it's all about the academy. We've got a whole new email sequence coming out that's going to tell people all about it. Like everything about it is going to be better. But most of all, just follow me online. Follow me on Instagram. It's at michelle.c.smith. Same on Twitter. Not Twitter, TikTok. Jeez. At michelle.c.smith. It's Michelle Krista Smith on YouTube. I post a lot on there. I try my best to engage with people as much as possible. Like if you've taken the time to write me a comment, I'm going to try my best to respond. Obviously, I can't get to all of them. YouTube is a place I'm posting a video every week on YouTube. That's a goal of mine for the next sort of 8 months to a year, is to just constantly be posting, because I feel like YouTube is an audience that I haven't quite tapped into yet. And again, it's about community building. So even if you're not interested in paying for things, there's tons of tutorials on YouTube, and there's beginner ones, there's intermediate ones. So there's something for everyone. There's lightsaber ones, there's staff ones, there's rope dart ones, tons of stuff on there. So yeah, follow me and introduce yourselves and say hi, that you came from WTF Nation Radio.
Yeah, we sent them your way. Also, that's awesome. I mean that was the last two for me as far as where can people see you and what have you got coming up, and then where can people can show support through following you on Instagram, following on YouTube, TikTok, and supporting you and everything you do. So I just want to thank you so much. This has been, just the most fun conversation. Like I said, I feel like we keep going forever, but I want to be respectful of your time too. And this has been a lot of fun. I do
need to eat dinner.
Exactly. We do gotta let you go.
This has been fun. You're a great interviewer, by the way. I only acknowledge you for that. Thank you so much. This has been a very wonderful evening.
Oh, fantastic. I'll give you the last 3 seconds here to say goodbye to our audience, and then I'll toss us to a break, and I'll say goodbye in private.
Awesome. Thank you very much, everyone, for stopping by. I hope to see you again soon. Okay, bye.
All right, guys. We'll be on a short break, and then we'll be back with more right after this. Shots.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Looking up and fading out, cirrus shapes I found blow me away. Van Allen right around, pushing through, skin is brown. Nature has us trapped in fear, so I get lost in sound. I wonder if you'll ever know why I am the way I am. I've been thinking a lot about time and space surrounding. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? I've been thinking a lot about life and its
You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio.
Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture Warrior. This is just, first of all, Chelsea Smith. My God, awesome interview. She was fantastic. Love talking with her. Hopefully you guys got a little something out of that conversation as well. Usually this is where I bring in Radar and we touch base after the interview. He had an emergency. Everything's fine. He just had an emergency and had to kind of run off. So I'm going to wrap things up for this week's edition of Pop Culture Warrior. We have, I'm trying to think, I don't think we have a guest next week. I'm gonna double check, but I don't think we have a guest next week. But in the weeks following, we're gonna be going back to having guests. I think maybe next week. Like I said, we might do something depending on if we win this podcast award. Come Thursday, if we win the podcast award, then Tuesday we're gonna just do something off the wall crazy, something to celebrate. I might pull something out of storage I've been sitting on for a while and give it away. I don't know. We're gonna do something. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be fun. And then if we don't win, we'll still have a good time. I don't know. We'll play games with the audience. We'll do story time. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll play it by ear. We'll talk about the last episode of What If, and what do we think's coming down the pipe, and yeah, we'll have lots of fun. Once again, thank you guys so much for checking out the show. It's always an absolute pleasure getting to goof off with you guys every Tuesday night. All of the regulars and all of the guys that just kind of pop in from time to time. I appreciate each and every one of you. Without you, there is no show. There is no Pop Culture Warrior. There is no WTF Nation Radio. So you guys honestly are the best. Love all of you. If there's someone that you would like to see on the show, by all means, reach out and recommend them. I will say that I've got no qualms about reaching out to anybody. I reached out to Denzel Washington about coming on. I knew the answer was going to be no. In fact, I was more shocked that they responded to tell me the answer was no. I just assumed I'd be ignored. But they were actually very nice, and in the most polite of ways told me to go fuck myself. Very nice people, very lovely people, and just basically said that shit's not going to happen. But if there's somebody you want to see on the show, I will reach out. Send me a message, send me a DM, send me a Twitter tweet, poke, Facebook, whatever. Send it to me. Send it to the page. I will reach out to them. I'll tell you, more often than not, if they're very well known, probably not going to want to come on the show. Let's just be real. But sometimes you get surprised, and we've had some really phenomenal guests, and the people that do want to come on and do want to talk, I feel like we've had really good conversations with and have had a good time with, and we've been very fortunate, and word is spreading. We had Monica Curran a couple weeks ago, and then a good actor friend of hers saw the post. She actually posted about us on social media, and that guy was like, "Oh, that's awesome." And then I jumped on the chance. I'm like, "Well, if you want to come on the show too, I'd love to have you." And so he'll be coming on the show in a couple weeks. And we had Lauren Tom on last week, and she wanted to pass it forward and asked me to write like a recommendation letter, like, "Hey, I'd love to have so and so on," and she's like, "I'll send it to them." So that's happening. So it's a word of mouth show. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. Share when you can. Share the page. Share the video. Share the interviews. If you want to support the channel, we do have a Patreon. It's not much, but it's just something, way to show support. It's a way for me to recoup the cost of lights and cameras and Adobe subscription so I can keep doing these goofy little graphics and things like that. So it's always appreciated. The Patreon's there. Check out the YouTube channel, youtube.com/popculturewarrior. I'm reposting the interviews, and I'm starting to put a nice little spin on them because they're just repackaged interviews that we've already done here live, but it's going to be done in a new, interesting way. So, like, if we talk about a certain topic, what I can do is then overlay, like, the videos or the images or the things. So it's a much more, the show comes to life, I guess, in a certain way. So, for instance, like today we were talking about, her viral videos. When I go to re-edit this in the future, it'll be just the interview, but then as we're talking about those viral videos, they'll be playing over top of our conversation. So, yeah, you'll be able to get to see kind of a different side of the thing. And I don't know. I hope that people enjoy it as much as I enjoy talking and getting to know these folks. So, with that being said, we've reached the end of another wonderful edition of Pop Culture Warrior. I want to thank all you guys for coming out, checking us out, and we will continue to bring out. Oh, hey, Joe. How about some Doctor Who actors? Shoot me some names, and I will reach out to them. Simple as that. That's all you gotta do, man. You guys give me the names. Like, I reach out to anyone I can think of, but the world of pop culture is extraordinarily large. So if you can think of actors, comedians, writers, producers, directors, musicians, anything in the world of entertainment, I'm more than happy to reach out to them and at least try to get the conversation started. So definitely let me know and I will reach out. But with that, thank you all for checking us out. We will continue to bring you more pop culture news, headlines, and interviews in the future. So until next week, this is CQ for what should have been Radar, and CQ signing off, and see you guys next week. Shots.